This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. This meeting is an in-person meeting held at 870 Colfax here in Benton Harbor. In addition, a live stream of this meeting is available at the following link. Questions may be submitted beforehand to liz.goodwin@bhas.org or presented in person during the public comment section as indicated in the agenda. Board members may be contacted through the emails listed below. Requests for special assistance, including for persons with disabilities, may be sent to liz.goodwin@bhas.org. I call this meeting to order officially at 6:08 p.m. We'll begin by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next is roll call. Secretary Triplett.
President Robinson,
Present.
Vice President Bowen, Secretary Triplett, President Treasurer Creighton,
Present.
Trustee Rocket Martin, Trustee Doyle, Trustee Gavin.
Present.
Madam President, we have a quorum established.
Thank you, Secretary Triplett. A quorum has been established. Next, we have approval of the agenda. This is technically a meeting that was recessed from July the 9th. However, we've had minor adjustments to the agenda that I do want to point out. So we are going to reapprove the current agenda for today. There is an approval of an amendment that will be needed for 625's work session at 6:30. There's also an addition to your staff report H7. There's a new certified teacher noted, so I want to make sure you all are aware of that. And then we've added a closed session for an opinion of counsel from Troon. And just for the board, that is a request that is related to the closed session that we had last week, received from Trustee Gavin. She wanted some feedback from council. So that is what the closed session is in regards to. Other than that, the agenda is the same as previously. We are not going to go over the things that we have already voted on. That's why they are striked out. However, I do want to clarify for you all, last week or Tuesday rather, we did have where we had 3 yeses. This is in regards to the superintendent's goals. We had 3 yeses, 3 noes, and 1 abstain. And at that particular time, I didn't feel comfortable calling which way the vote went because I could not remember my Robert's Rules of Order exactly at that time. We did receive the clarification that abstaining does not count at all. Majority of the time when someone has abstained, there's already been a majority going a certain way, so it hasn't impacted. And this particular time, it's a 3-3. When there's a 3-3, I am allowed to break the tie. However, I do not feel comfortable being the tiebreaker at this particular time. So that motion will fail. What I would suggest and I know we're still at the agenda, but this is for clarification to the superintendent. There was feedback that you received from the noes. I would recommend that you reflect on that feedback because we'll have to reassess your goal. We'll have to take that vote again. Okay. So other than those clarifications, is there a motion to approve the agenda as noted?
I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda with moving the closed session to the beginning so that we can get the legal opinion of counsel before voting and making any decisions prematurely tonight.
Okay, so there's been where are you wanting to place that? Right at the start? As the first action item today? I mean, the first item of business today?
So I don't have the updated. It was on the table. My apologies. So we are now at the approval of the agenda. Yes, right. Well, of course, yep.
Okay, so a motion has been made by Treasurer Creighton that we move the closed session up as the first matter of business today. So we can technically put it under board business. Is there a second or support?
Support.
The motion has been made by Treasurer Creighton and supported by Secretary Triplett. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
Madam President,
Yes.
is there possible that I can make a motion to move the closed session at the end of the agenda?
The closed session is currently at the end. Treasurer Creighton is recommending that it be moved to the top. Secretary Triplett.
Yes, I think that from what the closed session consists of, I think the opinion is necessary in order for us to be able to make an informed decision about some of the items on the agenda as it relates to right sizing and those types of things. So I think if we can, I would feel more comfortable going into the closed session to get the opinion of the attorney, then coming back out and move. So that's why I was saying move it up to the front. Because
Okay.
it's going to affect some of our decisions down the road on the agenda.
Okay, so what I will say, the reason that I put the closed session at the end is because what I have found is that a closed session prevent us from getting the business at hand on the agenda completed in a timely manner. Because we start at the top, the public then waits, and then there's things that we don't get to. The opinion of council is not related to any of the right sizing votes that we need to take.
Point of order?
Yes.
Are you able to say what it's about? I thought we just have to.
So I wasn't going to say.
Okay, I'll just.
What it was about. I was providing, so I've already said that it's related to the closed session.
Okay.
And the closed session was not related to right sizing at all. When we read our bylaws at the start of going into a closed session, we identify the reasons that we're going into them. And right sizing and human resources was not one of those reasons that we entered. However, there's a current motion on the table by Treasurer Creighton, supported by Secretary Triplett, that we amend the agenda to move the closed session to the top. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? All right, hearing none, Secretary Triplett?
President Robinson,
No.
Vice President Barnes,
No.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
No,
Trustee Gavin.
Yes.
That passed, right?
No.
Oh, it failed.
It fell 3-3. It didn't fall. It's neutral.
Yeah. Okay, so that is the tie, and it's gonna be a tie. So at this particular time, I will just
Without, Madam President,
you have the floor.
there were a lot of things discussed in closed session, and obviously we can't disclose. And so I mean, I have no way of knowing without reviewing the notes prior to really know what, the legal opinion is. And so obviously we know that, there are a lot of positions on the agenda. We know that there are a lot of business matters on the position on the agenda, and just to avoid potentially not getting a legal opinion of counsel that could help us make decisions with EEOC, with finance. I mean, I have no idea what the legal opinion is going to say. And so I am very nervous to, what if, we haven't seen it. I don't know if you reviewed it, but we have not. So that is the only reason I think we can make it quick and we can end quickly, at least if we just read it and know what the legal opinion of counsel is for us to vote on.
Okay, so I have no objections to that. I can either be the tiebreaker, or you can change my vote to yes, and we'll go in. However, when you are, never mind, we can go in.
Put a time limit on it?
Yeah, it'll take us 15 minutes tops. You'll see why. And you guys will probably laugh. So, so at this particular time, the agenda has passed. I'll allow my vote to be a yes. We'll move closed session to the top. So we are going to, that's going to be under board business. However, the first thing that we need to make sure that we do is the amendment to the work session for 6/25/2024, 6:30. We realized after taking the vote last week that there was an error on the minutes for that particular meeting. specifically for the Director of Finance vote, it is noted that trustee Gavin voted no, and she actually voted yes. That notation was, we picked that up after we voted. So in order to make sure that our minutes are accurate, we need to make a vote to amend the minutes to reflect that trustee Gavin did vote yes for the Director of Finance position for Molly Vincent. So at this particular time, I would ask, is there a motion to amend the previously approved minutes for work session 6/25/2024, 6:30, so that they reflect that trustee Gavin voted yes to the hiring of the Director of Finance, Molly Vincent?
So move.
Is there a second or support?
I support.
Any questions, comments, or concerns?
Madam President, on that 625 amendment, can we also, sorry. It was something in there that I don't recall, was it, so we adjourned the meeting. When you look at that open public comment section, it says, you get where I'm saying? I feel like.
Well, so that's technically correct. So what occurred is that we got through with the vote, and then there was a motion to adjourn, and I didn't catch it. One second, Superintendent.
Thank you, Madam President. We did look that up. As long as we had one session, public
Mhm.
comment session, we were in compliance.
So I guess when you look at the documentation, it's just me, when you read it and it says open public comment skipped, it's scary. And, can we put in that meeting? Never mind.
Or just take that, have that removed because we didn't have it, just have it removed instead of
Okay.
saying skip.
It looks like we violated.
Mhm. Okay, so the current motion on the floor was made by, was it Treasurer Creighton, Secretary Triplett,
Yeah.
I had a question, President Robinson.
Trustee Gavin?
Was it just my vote of yes, that was, notated wrong, or was, Vice President Bowen's vote? Was that notated properly, his vote of?
He abstained, so according to
Abstain.
this, one second,
Yeah, I abstain.
he
That's correct.
abstained from the vote.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's two different sections in these minutes. I want to make sure. The first vote was to amend the agenda to allow for the vote. Gavin, did you vote yes or no to that? You were a yes, correct? That's the one that we just
To
corrected.
amend the agenda to allow for the vote.
Yes,
It sounds like I would vote yes for something like that, yes. What I
Okay.
double checked was me voting for Molly to be hired. I know that I voted for that.
okay.
I thought that's what we were talking about, was
It
hiring.
is,
the
but I just
director of
noted,
finance.
I just noticed that it already has you as a yes. So I don't know if she went in and altered the minutes. Since we last voted, but. Okay, so you voted yes, trustee Bowens abstained. Okay. Who made the initial motion? Secretary Triplett? Treasurer Creighton, who supported it?
No,
No,
I didn't, it was like it was down there.
You have the record.
I don't have a problem supporting
I
it,
don't have
but
a
it
place
wasn't
in there,
me.
but it was me and Rocket Martin.
Okay, are you okay with the amendment to remove the open public comments?
Yes.
Okay. Trustee Rocket Martin, will you
Yes.
still support that? Okay, so at this time, we have the motion on the floor to amend the June 25th, 2024, 6:30 minutes so that they accurately reflect that trustee Gavin did vote yes to the hiring of the Director of Finance, Molly Vincent, as well as a notation that open public comment was skipped. It has been moved by Secretary Triplett and supported by trustee Rocket Martin. If there's no other questions, comments, or concerns, we can take the vote. Secretary Triplett.
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowen,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes, Treasurer Creighton.
Yes,
Trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes.
Trustee Doyle,
Yes.
trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carried.
Secretary Triplett, did you take notation of what time trustee Doyle made it?
I did not.
Trustee Doyle? Must have been recent.
It was 3 minutes ago.
6:17.
Okay. All right, next, as a reminder, protocol as of 9/13/2022, all comments will be limited to 2 minutes per trustee per topic. According to the amended agenda, we will have the closed session first. The Board of Education may hold a closed session to consider materials such as written opinions of council, which are exempt from discussion by the state or federal statute, reference policy 0167.2F. At this particular time, I'll ask, is there a motion to end open session and enter closed session?
So moved.
Is there a second or support?
I support.
The motion has been made by Secretary Triplett and supported by trustee Rocket Martin. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, Secretary Triplett?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowens,
No.
Secretary Triplett, yes, Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
trustee Rocket Martin,
No.
trustee Gavin,
Yes.
trustee Doyle,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, so that was 5 people. Okay, still passes. So for closed session, we have to have 3/5 of the vote, which would technically be 5 people. All right, so just for the public, as a reminder, closed session is only privy to the board, so we're gonna step into our closed session room momentarily and review the opinion of council that we have. We will be back very shortly. I would say 15 minutes top is what my goal is, so that we can ensure we get through this agenda timely. So we are ending open session and entering closed session as of 6:24 p.m. Is there a motion to end closed session and return to open session?
I make a motion to end closed session and return to open session.
Is there a second or support?
Support.
The motion has been made by trustee Rocket Martin and supported by trustee Doyle, I believe. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, Secretary Triplett?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowens,
No.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
trustee Doyle,
Yes.
trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, so we are returning to our agenda. Our apologies to the public. Our closed session went a little bit longer than normal, but not, than anticipated, but not as long as normal. So we are returning to section 3 of the agenda, superintendent, and we're gonna pass it to Dr. Butts.
Thank you, Madam President. For the partnership agreement update. On June 24th to 24, we had a meeting with the Office of Partnership Districts. We did talk about the math curriculum adoption and the books that we already approved. We did talk about the ELA adoption and the new change to the law for allowing for dyslexia in the new curriculum. We talked about professional development, support and training for math and ELA, science and social studies. We also talked about the ESSER 3 funds and growing our own and making sure that they had the tools necessary. In your packet, I don't know if there is the link to or you have the entire part where there's a link where you see the TNT, TNR, and URTP status tracking. But we did come up with a new status tracking sheet to show where people are in the process. I can say we have several of our candidates that have moved on, and I would like it while we're at this point, and while she's in the audience, we have one candidate that's passed a test and is getting ready to apply for an interim license so she can start on her continue her track to certification. Ms. Burrell, congratulations.
Can you please stand, Ms. Burrell? I can't see you over the podium. Well, congratulations.
So just happy to say we are making progress with the Grow Your Own. We did discuss the positive behavior incentives, systems of rewards in communities and schools. We also have approved vendors through the ISD for tutoring through the 23G grant for the Michigan Kids Back on Track. We have applied for and have put in for the consolidated app that has been uploaded. We also discussed the My CLSD grant money pull down and the many diverse libraries and their training and how they're coming along, and surveys for the benchmark reviews. So that's the latest update from the partnership agreement meeting.
Okay, and this is just clarification for the board. I did ask that Dr. Butts include the agendas from the partnership agreement meetings that have taken place in between our meetings so that you all can actually see what's been discussed. And it's the format that they use is excellent because you can see what was discussed, but then you can also see the progress of the next steps on behalf of the district. So if you all can start looking for that, if there's anything in those agendas or next steps or notes that you have clarifications that you would like, or anything that you would like to complement, for example, this would be the opportunity to do that. But I just wanted to ensure that you all have more of a closer lens on what takes place in the meetings. Any questions or comments? Trustee Gavin.
Thank you, President Robinson. Dr. Butts, can you give us a status on the Teachers in Training Grow Your Own program? What percentage of the teachers in training have been notified that they have the positions that they were in at the close of school?
I'm not understanding, notify of what? I didn't hear that last part of your question. Can you repeat it, please?
What percentage of the teachers in training have been notified officially that they have their positions with Benton Harbor area schools?
So when the letter was sent out, I have an example of the letter that was sent out, and I will share with the board. I thought I would get a chance to share it tonight. I do have a copy and I can share it with you. But on the letter that was sent to the TNTs, no one was told that they will not have a job. It was just asked that they reapply, that it just reminded them of their contracts that expire on June 30. In order for a TNT, because they're considered a probationary teacher, to not have a job, the board would have to approve a non-renewal or a position elimination. So that was conveyed to all of the TNTs on the last board meeting. Prior to the last board meeting, there were transfers that were made, so those teachers will continue in a different position.
I'm not clear. What percentage of those TNTs that were told that they need to reapply for their positions were then told that they have a position, informed that they have a position with Benton Harbor area schools?
I'll have to follow up with that.
Do you know if you told any of them?
In the letter, it stated it in the letter. That's why I'm saying I'll follow up by sending you a copy of the letter.
Is the letter indicating to them that they have a job with Benton Harbor area schools?
Give me just a moment. They were not told that they did not have a job.
Were they told that they do? I'm sorry. My question is, Dr. Butts, did you inform the 60 teachers who were told they had to reapply for a position, did you inform them that they have a position with Benton Harbor area schools? Yes or no, please?
I did not tell them they did not have a job with Ben Harbor area schools. We simply told them to reapply because their contracts expire on June 30.
I'm sorry, I'm not asking that.
So I'll-
question.
I'll
I'm
em-
asking, did you tell them that they do? That's all I'm asking. Yes or no? Did you tell them that they do have a position with Benton Harbor area schools?
That would be a yes, according to the letter that I gave.
I'll read the letter.
Thank you.
To growing our own teacher candidate, I hope you are aware of the partnership agreement and the requirements Benton Harbor area schools must meet to remain in compliance with school accountability. One major component of school accountability is securing highly qualified staff to provide high quality instruction to our students. During this school year, we have taken action to ensure candidates are aligned with the requirements of becoming certified teachers. The district is responsible for doing its due diligence to secure certified teaching staff each school year. Unfortunately, I must notify you that due to your current status of not holding a Michigan teaching certificate, you will have to reapply for an open position within the district for the 2024-2025 school year. Your current contract with Benton Harbor area schools will expire on June 30th, 2024. You are encouraged to reapply as we are not certain to fill these positions. However, we have to do our due diligence in searching for and recruiting certified teachers. Always feel free to contact Human Resources or the Superintendent's Office if you have any questions concerning the separation of the contract. If you have an interest in reapplying in hopes that a vacancy of interest remains, be sure to start the preparation process by clicking the link below. And that is the end of the letter.
I apologize, President Robinson. After you said that their contract expired
Your contract.
on June 30th or
Your
20?
current contract with Benton Harbor area schools will expire on June 30th, 2024.
Okay,
You are encouraged to reapply as we are not certain to fill these positions. However, we have to do our due diligence in searching for and recruiting certified teachers. And my apologies, Dr. Bus, I put a smear of makeup on your document.
No
thank you so much for clarifying. So it sounds like they were led to believe that their contract expired and that they do not have a job unless they reapply for an open position that's open to everybody. Thank you.
Secretary Triplett.
Okay, first of all, I would like to ask the question. Do they, when our TNTs came in, our teachers in training, grow your own, because now this program has moved statewide because of teacher shortage throughout the state. So did they sign a contract at the beginning when they took these positions is my first question. And that's for the superintendent.
Yes, sir, they did.
And so on that contract that they signed, did it say that they were that this was for 1 year?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so once they signed that, did anyone from Human Resource Department let them know, like in March, or to give them enough time to let them know that this was happening and that they need to come if they are interested in continuing to work for Benton Harbor area schools, that they need to come in and get this take care of this situation?
This letter was sent out on April 15th
To the TNT.
to the TNTs. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so another question, when you say reapply, what does that entail?
And before he answers that, I just want to remind the board that we're at partnership agreement, and I think he may have mentioned something regarding TNTs, but I just don't want us to, to shift the focus from the partnership agreement. Go ahead and answer that question.
Yeah,
What was your question again? What is
Go
that?
ahead.
okay, the question was, what does it entail when we're asking 60 of our teachers, which the majority of our workforce is in the teachers and training program? And I'm asking, what does it entail when we ask them to reapply for these positions, and who told you that had to happen? That's what I asked the last meeting. And who said that that had to happen, that our teachers in training had to reapply every year? I just
So
want to see.
in keeping with good faith efforts of the partnership agreement to have highly qualified and certified staff, and part of my job as the superintendent, working along with my team and the then CAO, CFO, Director of Student Services and Human Resources, we worked diligently with our TNTs, and that's how we came up with making
No,
sure.
I guess you misunderstood my question. My question was, where is it by law or any policy or any documentation where it says that these people have to reapply every year? Because we know just historically, since you've been in the role, when you were a principal, that you had openings in your building. At Fairplain Middle School, we do not have like an overabundance of applications coming to Benton Harbor area schools on a regular basis. Every now and again, we might get 1 or 2 certified teachers that apply for position here at Benton Harbor. My question is, where did we get this from that we have to, we finally get a force of 60 teachers in training, which the state is allowing all districts to do this, to train and grow your own. Where did this come from that they had to reapply? That's my question. And you can for the interest of time and moving forward, that is something that I want to have asked this question twice. Because I'm very concerned, because if I get a letter saying that I have to reapply for a position, that means that I no longer work in that position. And we are in jeopardy of losing 60 teachers that we have invested in, supposedly, and training them so that they can stay here with us in Benton Harbor area schools.
Again, I'd like to remind everyone that we are on the topic of the partnership agreement. So if is your comment pertaining to the partnership agreement or notations on the partnership agreement agenda, Trustee Rocket Martin?
I would just like to ask Dr. Buss a question, and then I'm done too. Along with the.
Put your mic up to your mouth, please.
Supplied, how long are they allowed to, how long are the teachers in training allowed to be teachers in training before they have to get certified? So if you could provide that also, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am, I provide it through email.
Madam President?
Oh, he doesn't have to answer that right now. It's 4 years.
I think we can go.
So this is a part of the
I'm
partnership.
asking for it now. You can just send it whenever.
Vice President Bowens, is your comment related to the partnership agreement
Yes,
update?
but I believe Treasurer Creighton had her hand up before me.
No, you're incorrect. We can roll the camera back. You were first, sir.
Okay, well, it's so good to read our partnership agreement, and it says, hi, per Mr. McDermott, update regarding the transitions have taken place, including the hiring of 10 certified teachers. So I'm just excited about that. I believe we did that last month with the certified teachers. So we are really, it's commendable that we've gotten 10 certified teachers to teach our kids and prepare them for the 21st century. I want to say thank you for the former cabinet and you for your leadership and getting us those certified teachers. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Bowens. Treasurer Creighton?
Thank you so much. I've noticed, and I appreciate this in these updates. I noticed that Dr. Butts talked about the hiring of qualified people being a direct part of our partnership agreement to recruit, hire, develop, and retain. Keyword retain the best staff to improve student outcomes. And so my question is, I guess related directly to that, and just wondering, everything that we put in this partnership agreement should also be backed up with policy, and we've obviously vetted it to make sure. And since it's on the table and we talked about that, I'm just wondering, from my understanding of the board policy, and I don't know all of them, I'm actually learning that there are a lot that I don't know, but the few that I know, I thought the board had the power to, approve the hiring and the firing or the layoffs of teachers, which is why since March, we've been talking, I'm sorry, of staff. And so since March, we've been talking about these positions in the restructuring, and the superintendent's brought it to the table multiple times each month, but did not have the power to move on it because it is the board governance and authority. So I'm just wondering how was 60 people led to believe? I was not aware that it was 60. I've not seen the letter. So understand that I'm going off of hearsay at this table tonight. But it's a concern that this partnership agreement and these goals are not being followed. If we say recruit, hire, develop, and retain, I think best is subjective, but to let 60 people go without actually going through any kind of metrics or evidence gathering is concerning, and I was not aware of that. You know, I've been wondering why the rooms have been packed, and there's been a lot of emotions around that and a lot of people watching via Zoom. So I'm just wondering, my question is, you know, when we say that, what is meant by that? If we can comfortably tell 60 people that they have to reapply, which means,
Yeah.
you know, you're not present, you're not here, so you have to reapply. That concerns me, and I would like a quick response.
Quick response to that was, the letter was sent to TNTs and TNRs. It was not sent to the URTPs because they're in the master's program and they have to work for the district for 3 years after they complete it. No one was let go. That is a board action to lay off or terminate a person. I can only make recommendations. So in that's
Did you
why
recommend this to the board? You said it was done in March or April?
April, but I didn't recommend anyone to be laid off or terminated.
But you encouraged them to apply for
Reapply.
another job here or somewhere else?
No, for here. And it was also noted during one of our finance meetings. I can't remember as a matter of fact, it was January 31, during one of our finance meetings, when Ms. Molly Vincent was present. I went back and watched a video where it was stated that was what was being looked for.
So we have recorded finance meetings?
The meeting itself was not recorded on Zoom. The camera in my office caught the recording.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. So then it'll be recorded that, okay. Thank you.
Okay.
So how do I request a copy of that?
I can just send it to you.
Okay.
I have one question, Dr. Butts. Never mind, I'll move forward. No, my question was, what occurs if they do not reapply?
Since the deadline, we also reached out to Clark Hill to get clarity on that. So that I would, if it were to come to the board, because that's a board action. If they did not, since the board has not taken action, and even if they did not reapply, after June 30, their contract automatically renews for 1 year.
So
What? President Robinson?
Okay. So I'm gonna, the clarification that you're receiving is that you have that in written format?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you email that to the board? That might be a little bit easier
I
for
will.
us. Okay. So I'm gonna try to move us along from the conversation. Each person that has wanted to speak has had an opportunity to speak. And so my earnest desire is that we will focus on a particular topic on the agenda and try to stay on that topic. I know the TNTs, and I think that was, he said that word or something to that effect. But I want to make sure that we keep it moving. I'm not really sure who's working the timer, but I have no way of knowing if we are maintaining the 2 minutes or not.
Point of clarity, President
Just
Robinson.
1 second. And I just want, and I'm not trying to silence anyone's voice. but I have the responsibility for navigating us through this meeting to make sure that we can get through the end in a timely manner, and I'm just attempting to do that. What was your point of clarification, trustee Gavin? Is it pertaining to the agenda? If it's on this topic, we're gonna move forward.
I just didn't hear. He was speaking very low. I did not hear what Dr. Buss said in terms of.
So what he was doing was reading an excerpt from clarification that he received, but you're gonna get that in hard copy via
Just wanna hear
email.
what he said. Did he say their contract automatically renews?
That's what he said.
On what date? Please?
After June 30th is what he said. So July 1st. So Dr. Buss, if you could email that, because as a reminder, guys, we still have a human resources section. And so I don't want you all to think that I'm attempting to silence you. I'm gonna keep saying that, but every month we come to the table, we prolong our conversations on certain topics, and then we tell the chair that she's letting people talk too long. But the same people who complain to the chair fight me when I try to make you move forward in the agenda. So we have to keep it moving. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm trying to do what you all communicate to me every meeting when we leave at 10 o'clock that you would like for me to do. And Secretary Triplett, you've already had an opportunity
No,
to
I
speak.
just wanted a point of clarification, and it's just a very simple question. I'm just in a lot. So that means since the deadline was not met by the 30th, that means that all 60 of our teachers in training have their job. Is that not correct?
That is correct.
All right, thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is the strategic plan update. Dr. Butts.
Thank you, Madam President. In your packets, you have the strategic plan update. It is divided by the different areas of the strategic plan that the district had voted on. The first one, the key performance indicator is implementation of district-wide high-frequency tutoring strategy. As I just mentioned, part of the partnership agreement, the ISD has secured vendors for tutoring. Also, under the academics and programs KPI, strengthen GSRP program pathways to kindergarten. We are currently working on that. The metrics for that is to communicate enrollment opportunities, email, flyers, and social media. The academics and programs KPIs, implementation of district-wide pacing guides for curriculum monitoring as we get in our new books. And as we look at our books that we have currently, the pacing guides are being developed. One of the things we also looked at for the new books that we purchased, the companies that we get the books from also provide pacing guides. So what we're looking forward to is allowing some time for the teachers to go in and adjust the pacing guides according to their teaching pedagogy. Under culture and learning environment, one of the KPIs was establish a framework for student feedback loops and structure regular communication with district leadership. That part has been done by when we changed the policy and students are on, we have student representatives for the board for a feedback mechanism. Under culture, learning and environment, the KPI was one of the KPIs is implementing annual attendance truancy awareness campaign and monitoring student-centered attendance practices. We're in the process now of interviewing for a truancy officer, and that should be brought to the board by the next meeting. Under personnel and leadership, continue to implement and monitor grow your own teacher development programs designed to recruit personnel into the education profession. We talked about that earlier, and I'll be sending the information out on with a complete spreadsheet on where everyone is in a grow your own program. One of the KPIs under personnel and leadership, continue to expand professional learning opportunities supports for principal aligned to the state leadership's framework. As we talked about also in our partnership, we will be again continuing to try to get support for our principals in the district. Communications and community engagement, one of the KPIs is to establish accurate, correct information for enrolled students and families. One of the questions that's been asked, and it's on the agenda coming up about Munetrics, there has been, Ms. Robin Cups has done a training with Metrics and has set up a training in August for staff. And I will be asking, sending out communication to the board, asking when would be a good time to set up Metrics training for the board, since I know that has been communicated and asked for. Under communications and community engagement, establish and implement district annual stakeholder surveys. That's already being done through the master's facilities plan. Under operations, one of the KPIs, request for proposals, RFP process for outstanding financial service requests. We will be sending out an RFP for student drivers education. I can't remember it, but the driver's education program. We'll be sending those RFPs out soon. That is part of our ESSER 3s. Under operations, KPIs, develop a facilities master plan for education facilities, capital improvement and real estate. That process is underway, as we've already had several meetings, and one of the meetings included board members and community members and students, faculty and staff. And that is the end of the strategic plan update.
Any questions from the board pertaining to the strategic plan update? All right, hearing none. Dr. Butts,
President Robinson,
you have the floor.
thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Butts, for this strategic plan update. KPI B, continue to implement and monitor the Grow Your Own teacher development program designed to recruit personnel into the education profession. You indicated that July 1, the teachers in training would automatically get their jobs back. If they didn't reapply for the job, so they were asked to apply for positions that they have now. In your letter, I didn't see anywhere that indicated to these people that their job, that they would have their job. July 1. And I guess in honor of continuing to implement and monitor this program, and we want to recruit personnel, because if they finish this program successfully, then we have, 51 to 60 certified teachers, which is amazing. People who've been hands-on working with us, educating themselves and educating our kids. So with that in mind, when do you intend to notify all of these people, all of these professionals who have given themselves to this district? When do you intend to notify them that they have a position within Harbor Area Schools effective? You said July 1 and it's July 11th.
You're correct. So on July 1st through 3rd, I was not in district. I was actually on vacation. On June 26th, 27th, I was out on sick days. So I will be notifying them as soon as possible.
What does that mean?
As soon as I can get the letter drafted and sent out to the staff, I will be notifying them.
Okay. Is it possible for the school board to get a copy of that letter?
Yes, ma'am. I will make sure that you're CC'd on.
Thank you so much. I also heard you indicate that you will be submitting an RFP for the driver's education program. We were under the impression that that was going to happen earlier this school year. And so you're saying that you're going to send them out. So what is the timeline for that, for, sending out? Do you have the RFP already written?
Yep.
And it's just needing to be sent out, or like, what's the timeline in terms of sending that RFP out and then us being able to move forward with that program?
The RFP has been written. Due to lack of staff, I've been having, trying to make sure I keep everything rolling. So I'll be sending it out as soon as possible. Again, as soon as I can continue to catch up on my other duties, I will get it sent out, hopefully within the next 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay. Thank you so much. Last question. When does school start this year?
The teachers start back August, middle of August. I don't have that calendar in front of me.
So in a month.
Yes,
Okay,
the
thank you.
teachers start back.
Okay, so to the person that's operating the timer, I know it's very easy to forget it, but you gotta start when they start talking, or it will be about 3 or 4 minutes. So I really need your help with that part. You have a question?
Yes, the major thing and the key thing about the plan is simply this, that the things that we put in place as far as growth and academics are concerned, that we had an 18-month window to show that we've made the academic growth, and that is the most critical piece to the strategic plan.
That's the partnership,
I mean, the partnership agreement,
Right.
I'm sorry. the
but it
partnership-
still is tied to the.
Yeah, the partnership agreement. Do we have any information and data that we can submit? Have we met I know we picked the 1% growth, which was the lowest across the state for everybody that was in these partnership agreements. Do we have any information, any evidence that within the 18th, but by the end of the 18th month, Ben Harbor will be good to be able to continue on to the next level?
What we're using our state test scores, and I can have those sent to you.
No, I don't need them. I'm just asking you, do we have that? And you have that information? And if once you've seen the state scores, the state test scores,
Mhm.
That's from a summative perspective.
Yes, sir.
But from a formative perspective, some of that stuff is in there as well when our NWEA
Right.
to show growth.
Right.
So do you have that information that you can get to us like as soon as possible? Are we in danger? Because all these other things are okay, but if we don't meet that growth academically, then we are in another situation.
Yes, sir, and I can get it to you.
All right, thank you.
All right, and just a reminder to the board, if you all could try to remember to speak into your mics
Sorry.
so that we can make sure your statements are captured as they need to be. Next on the agenda, if there's no other questions regarding the strategic plan, is the district right size restructuring. The staff report S1. Dr. Buss has also provided a chart. There was a separate attachment. A table that's showing, I did request that we get a table that reflected, the certain board members requested certain things, and then I asked if he would let us know if these are positions that are vacant or currently filled, so that we know if there are bodies in the seat. So that chart has been provided to you. So Dr. Buss, I'll allow you to present staff report S1, and then we can dig into it.
Submitting for board consideration to approve elimination of the following positions, job positions is below, facts and analysis. After a thorough fiscally responsible review of existing positions within the district, it is necessary to eliminate certain positions to promote a long-term fiscally responsible vision for the district. Aspects of former district positions have been either consolidated or reassigned to reflect a sustainable model for the future. Policy reference 3131. Strategic plan goal reference, personnel leadership, Benton Harbor area schools will recruit, hire, develop, and retain the best staff to improve student outcomes. Position to be eliminated, restructure, title of the position, grant coordinator. Funding source, 50% ESSER 3, 50% general fund, effective date 6/11/24. Data coach, funding source, general fund, effective date 6/30/24. Director of literacy, funding source 50% my CLSD, 50% general fund, effective date 6/30/2024. Payroll benefit specialist, general fund, 6/30/2024. Behavior interventionist 3, already set to sunset on 6/30/2024, to be replaced by MTSS positions. Funding source 31A, effective date 6/30/24. Assistant principal, high school, 2 positions, ESSER 3, 6/30/2024. Graduation advisor, 1 position, vacant, ESSER 3. Funding source, date effective 6/30/2024. MTSS specialist, 1 position for low enrollment, due to low enrollments. Funding source 60% 31A, Effective date 6/30/24. The other 40% was ESER 3. Academic interventionists, 2 positions moving into the classroom. Funding source 86% 31A, 14% Title I. Effective date 6/30/24. Virtual teacher due to low enrollment. Funding source ESER 3. Effective date 6/30/2024. Family engagement specialist 1. Low enrollment sharing services with the high school. Funding source Title I. Effective date 6/30/2024. Grant accountant, general fund. Effective date 6/30/2024. Athletic director, general fund. Effective date 6/30/2024. Recommended action for the Ben Bailey School Board of Education votes to approve the elimination of the above listed positions as presented.
Madam President,
You have, well, is there a motion to approve staff report S1? Let's do that first and then we'll go. Is there anyone that has a current motion for staff report S1, or was your comment pertaining to S1?
I have a point of information.
Okay.
The packet that was referred to, what was the disclaimer? Cause I see documented Google Doc activity. So I'm just wondering what it is.
So I think that this was in the previous meeting, it was indicated, I'm not exactly sure who indicated it, that they had not been sent the information or received it via email. So I believe this is Dr. Butt's verification for us that it was sent out to everyone. And then it just reflects whether it was opened or read or viewed.
Okay. Is there a document that shows how many times it was locked when we attempted to view it?
I would not have that question.
Okay. I just think, things are getting really, really petty and the business at hand is not being taken care of. So for the audience that's listening via Zoom, that's also listening via people in the audience going live, I just want you all to know that we have a lot of time to do things that are not relevant, but yet on the table, we have people from this community that could potentially be eliminated. And we have said that it was a direct mistake of the superintendent that they were notified that their positions, they would have to reapply, but it was not state law that said that. I'm also confused as to why we need to call attorneys to find that out when we have a Michigan Department of Education that sets the requirements. However, I would like to make a motion. And remember, this was a $2 million savings. So do we have that disclaimer or was that adjusted in the staff report? Because I want to read it correctly. Is this the $2 million savings that's promised?
According to this staff report,
Okay, and according to the verification that was provided, what is the savings?
for next year, the complete savings will be $2,069,630. That's the projected savings.
On this table, what does it say? It say represents $1 million, $1,011,604 in savings.
There's separate charts that on this one, they're broke down. So that he has it, dollar amounts for each of the coordinating sections. And then there's a back summary that reflects the amount, the potential amount.
Okay, so in the recorded finance meeting that we haven't seen, it was stated that this was a $2 million in savings. I think the current CFO and myself both agreed that it was not a $2 million in savings. And so we went into another meeting and we've had meetings since March stating that this was not a $2 million savings. The CFO was hired. I'm sorry, the director of finance was recommended for a position and she is not here. So I'm not sure who has certified these numbers. But in our last finance meeting and the budget hearing that day, we were told that there was not a $2 million of savings. So I'm just wondering, this chart was put together and opened on the 12th, and this was discussed in our budget hearing preparation meeting on, I'm not mistaken, the 25th or the 26th. And so I don't know that it's a time limit on making a motion. But again, as a point of information, I'm just trying to understand if this was prepared and individuals that prepared it had time to know who opened it, did they have time to do the math correctly? Because this is not a $2 million in savings, even if you look at these things individually. But I'm not an accountant or a finance director, so I can't really certify that. But I would like to make a motion at this time. And if we can go through it, one by one. Is someone taking notes or will we have to rely on the recording?
Make a motion of what?
I'm not understanding what you're asking.
I would like to make a motion. And I would like to be very specific in that motion.
So you probably want to take notes because someone is, I'm guaranteed is gonna ask you for clarification on your motion.
Okay.
So maybe put stars for yourself or something to that effect.
So what I'm nervous about is that the facts and analysis is saying, after a thorough and fiscally responsible review of existing positions within the district, it is necessary to create new positions. I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong one. My apologies. We don't have it's not tied to this fact finding, so.
Hmm?
Are you still wanting to make a motion?
I'm trying to, but
Okay.
some of the information that's on this sheet in this new packet is not on the staff report S1.
Just kind of hard to follow.
It's totally different positions on them.
Once. Is this the-
So of course, I didn't open the position that's in the packet. I opened a completely different document, obviously. So I'm confused. I need some clarity.
So and I understand everyone's confusion. So we have this beautiful chart that breaks down everything, but it would have been more helpful to us if this would have been the chart that's included in the staff report, because the flow of the positions are broke down in a way that they're not listed on the staff report. So it makes it difficult to follow along. Okay.
I don't see a file clerk on this staff report S1, and it's listed on this elimination of $2 million.
So I was having the same issue. I didn't see, I was actually going through and checking through to make sure. So there is a file clerk. But it's under the transfer section, so that would it not need to be noted here? That's kind of confusing for us, Dr. Buck.
So the file clerk was transferred to a different position. So that position was no longer needed in the sped department. That person was transferred to a different position, it says right here, transferred to a paraprofessional position. And the funding source for that transfer is 51C. The dollar amount was $62,122.
So then I guess for us, because this individual was transferred, is this still an existing position? Because it's not being recommended for elimination?
That is being. It should be on the elimination.
This is a debacle. I don't know what is going on. I'm trying to make a motion. The information is not correct. The math is not mathing. We have people livelihoods on here. This is how people feed their families. We are not in a position to make mistakes. I don't know what to do. We don't have a finance director at the table. We don't have a human resource. I just don't, I want to make a motion, but the information is not parallel. Neither does it correlate with what's in the staff report. So, Madam President, I would like a recommendation on how to move forward with the motion with all of the mistakes and incorrect information that has been presented.
I'm not sure what the motion is that you were attempting to make to give you recommendation on how to proceed.
Well, I was going to make a recommendation to approve staff report S1
With
with some,
amendments.
but I don't know what's correct and what's not, and who should or should not be on this list, or if there's other people that should be on this list. Cause this is a mess. Is there anyone that can clarify? Human Resource Chair, anyone?
We don't have.
Madam President.
Mm-hmm.
Point of information, I do want to let us know that we have discussed this for numerous times. I believe we were recommended that we needed to do some of these cuts. In doing that, we have, what I'm seeing is, and Dr. Butts, you correct me if I'm wrong. The transfers, what you're telling us with the transfers is some of them are vacant, but we would still have to eliminate those positions because those positions are vacant.
That is correct.
So what we're reading on the paper is where it says transfer, that means it's vacant. There's nobody where it says status of, it says up at the top, vacant, filled, or the individual is eliminated. So what we're looking at is when you say the grant coordinator, that was a transfer. You asked me to answer a question.
You're referring to a document, and right now we're on district resizing.
And that's what I'm on, madam.
No, you're not. If
I'm
you
on
look
this-
at S1, transfer is not listed
So
on.
I'm gonna
being-
ask that you all allow me to give you the floor before
I
you.
apologize.
It's okay. So
Madam President,
we're gonna pause for a second. I'm not recessing. I'm just gonna pause to reset the energy. Just for a quick second, that's all. Okay. Trustee Bowens, if you could try to wrap up I think you were trying to provide clarification.
well,
I'm not-
you know, at this moment, Madam President,
My apologies, trustee Bowens. I was
reclaiming
asking,
my time, please,
I was
reclaiming my
asking.
time. Reclaiming my time, the chair.
Madam President.
You called me, Madam President. I
Okay,
didn't interrupt.
so at this particular time, I'm gonna take a brief recess.
Madam President, I want to file a complaint.
At this
I-
particular time, I'm going to take a brief recess.
Madam President, I understand what you're calling for, but you gave me the floor and you never allowed me to finish to what I was stating.
I
And
understand,
you
Vice
called a
President.
recess.
Vice
Right?
President Bowens.
I want this noted that this is unacceptable and the treatment towards certain trustees when they get the floor and we're talking, this is just unacceptable and should not be tolerated. Please note my complaint.
Okay,
In the meeting minutes.
okay, the minutes will capture your complaint. I'm not sure if you're saying I'm being biased, but I think we all know at the table that my ultimate goal, as I've said before, is to get us through the meeting. So I'm not attempting to silence your voice at all. But what I see occurring is a moment of potential friction. And I think if we just take a quick second to recess, everyone will be able to gather their thoughts and prepare their statements. I know that you still have the floor, and so the floor will return to you after recess.
Madam President, I think I had the floor and I asked the question.
It was Vice President Bowens was in the midst of his comment, and then
No, that's not true. Now, I asked the
you asked him a
question,
question and he was answering it, but
and then I had to because the answer that he was providing was not the answer to my question. So again,
I think if the board would give me the opportunity to recess.
I make a
Because-
motion that we take a recess.
Okay, I'm gonna do that, because I think that it will allow us to come back and reset the energy to continue this conversation. I'm not trying to silence anyone at the table. So the board is going to recess as of 8:06 PM. We will return at, I'll say 8:15, but it'll probably be 8:20. So we'll return from recess at 8:15. All right, so we are returning from recess as of 8:24 p.m. I would like to thank the public first and foremost for your patience as we take recess. It did take a little bit longer than anticipated. I would like to open us with the Board of Education norms for Benton Harbor area schools. We will treat each other with respect. We will listen to learn. We will refrain from side conversations. We will use our time wisely, starting and ending our meetings on time. We will challenge ideas, not people. We will ask questions when in doubt. There will be no surprises at the board table. We will practice the 7 norms of collaboration. Those are pausing, paraphrasing, posing questions, putting ideas on the table, providing data, paying attention to self and others, and presuming positive intentions. I'd also like to remind the board not to speak out of turn and to ensure that you have been appropriately passed the mic before you begin speaking. That will help to ensure that we don't have any back and forth conversations that turn into any unnecessary tension or confusion. So we're going to take our turns in speaking and allow the chair to give us the floor. So we are currently at staff report S1 regarding the district right size position elimination. We are at the place of attempting to receive a motion before going to recess. There was a question that was posed by Treasurer Creighton regarding staff report S1. Vice President Bowens had the floor and was attempting to provide the clarification to the question. I am not sure if Trustee Bowens still has further comments to make in answering the question that was asked. To be honest, I don't remember the question that was asked. So I will defer to Bowens whether or not he has more to finish from what he was attempting to say regarding the answer to the question. If not, we can open the floor up. I know that Treasurer Creighton had a motion that she was interested in making as well, but and I have things to say, but I would prefer to give the floor back to Vice President Bowens, as that is where we ended. And you can choose not to say anything, VP.
Well, Madam President, I actually think we are out of order with the Robert Rules of Order. I never knew we could question an item and it's not a second. So I think Treasurer Creighton was trying to develop a question. I will refrain from answering any questions until it's a motion and second, so we can get about the people's business and focus on our children.
Okay, so I believe the question that Treasurer Creighton asked was to assist her in making the motion she was attempting to make. However, if you prefer not to respond, that's perfectly fine. Treasurer Creighton, I'll defer back to you. You were attempting to make a motion. I'll allow you the floor if you have a motion to present.
Madam President, thank you. I want to first apologize. Was not trying to make anyone feel uncomfortable.
Can't hear you.
Just want to apologize. Was not trying to make anyone feel uncomfortable. Was just trying to make sure that my question was taken correctly. So I do publicly apologize. So the motion that I am interested in making, I realize that there is some cleaning up that needs to be done with position duplicates and vacancies because of mergers and changes in actual HR and central office and calling a tomato and a tomato. So my attempt to make a motion was to get those things separated. So if you can bear with me, I'm going to try to go through S1. And my attempt is to make a motion to eliminate the vacant positions that are duplicates, and then to ask for the other positions to be tabled until we can actually go through and make sure that we have a discussion for the other positions so that we don't end up making a mistake, since there are printed discrepancies and we don't have answers today. So if that's okay, my motion is to approve staff report S1 with the following positions to be eliminated. Director of Literacy, which is a vacant position, and it will save the district money according to the chart. Payroll and Benefits Specialist, which is a duplicate position, and it is vacant, so that won't be a loss of a job. Graduation Advisor, there are two from my understanding. This one is vacant, and due to low enrollment, one has been requested to be eliminated, and it is vacant. The grant coordinator, it is a vacant position according to the chart. Data coach, it looks like it is a vacant position.
That's all I see.
So on here, it does say behavior. See, this is another point of information. I know I'm in the middle of a motion, but it's saying that the behavior interventionist position is already set to sunset and they were replaced with MTSS. So are those positions, since it's now July the 11th, are these positions occupied, or?
You have the floor to answer.
The behavior interventionists were transferred, if I'm not mistaken, on not the last board meeting, but the board meeting prior to. And those MTSS positions the people are in those positions at the moment.
So we transferred them into interventionists, but then we put MTSS to be eliminated.
No, we transferred the interventionists into the class to different positions, to different positions. The MTSS people are still in their place.
So what he's communicating is that those individuals that were in those positions are now secured as MTSS. So there's no one currently in the behavior interventionist position.
So the behavior interventionist roles were vacant prior to June 30th.
Not prior to June 30, but after June 30, they were transferred to other positions within the district.
At what board meeting were they transferred? Because transfers can't happen without a board vote.
Not the last one, but the one prior to. When there were the large number of transfers. Mr. McDermott presented it. I cannot remember the exact date of that board meeting.
Treasurer Craig, you may want to pause on including that one and come back
Thank
to
you.
that one.
Okay.
I have,
We're in the midst of her motion, I'm sorry.
So did I mention MTSS? Is it a vacant one, or is this a current occupied one? All of the MTSS positions are occupied?
They're occupied. One
Okay.
school had two and it was.
So I'm not including that one, I'm sorry. Academic interventionists, are those occupied? It's on the back of the staff report.
Those are occupied.
Okay. So then that would be us laying off people, right?
They've been, they will be transferred. I'm thinking H4. Let me see. Did you say H4?
Okay.
If you want, let's table that one so we can have so I can have more discussion.
Okay. Virtual teacher is saying low enrollment. Is that occupied, and can that person go back into a classroom?
It's still occupied. We passed the date. Even so, if it was eliminated, it will be eliminated effective as of the 25-26 school year, because we're coming to the 24-25 school year.
Can this person be transferred if there's low enrollment?
Yes,
So if we eliminate the position, it won't put a person without a job.
that's correct.
It would just put them back in the classroom.
It will put them in a classroom.
Is this a motion?
Okay. And then family engagement specialist. Is that the same thing? So are those positions being, essentially, are these people being transferred to the high school according to this chart?
This one, the families engagement specialist one, according to this chart, they will be transferred to a different building. It just says different building.
So we're not eliminating we're eliminating the position so that they can be transferred?
That's correct.
Okay, so virtual teacher, family engagement specialist.
And I believe the grant accountant position is filled, but S2 is recommending the creation of a business office manager position. And then there's a potential transfer of that person into that position as well.
Okay.
If-
I'm not going to eliminate that person because if it does not pass as business office
Understood.
manager, then we'll be laying that person off.
Understood.
So, I mean, it can be amended or it can be voted down if someone want to lay that person off, but I don't want to chance that, so I'm not gonna include it in my motion. And then file clerk, that's the open position.
That's correct.
Okay, so one more clarifying question. So for this family engagement specialist, in my attempt to make this motion, I don't want those. If it's multiple people in those positions, I don't want my motion to say that I'm laying, like, this is not clear. So is this a family engagement specialist due to low enrollment? At which school is this in? Because it's saying sharing service.
That would be Kate.
So the family engagement person at Cape.
Just the position. I just don't like.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. So the family engagement specialist position at Cape.
That's correct.
Okay, my apologies. Okay. All right, so the motion is to approve staff report S1 with the following positions to be eliminated due to restructuring.
Speaking to Mike, so there's no confusion about, for the minutes.
Okay, so the motion is to approve staff report S1 with the positions due to be eliminated that are vacant and or low enrollment. Grant coordinator, director of literacy, payroll benefits specialist, virtual teacher to be transferred, family engagement specialist at Cape, position due to low enrollment will be combined, and the file clerk, which has been combined with another position. That's the motion.
Okay, according to my notes, you originally had indicated payroll benefits specialist. Are you not including that?
My apologies, I read it.
She did call it. Okay, so just to be clear, your staff report S1 includes grant coordinator, data coach, director of literacy, payroll benefits specialist, file clerk.
Where's this file clerk at?
It was left off in here,
Yep,
but it's on this chart.
yeah, I'm confused.
Virtual teacher and family engagement specialist, correct?
Jesus, so confused.
Yeah, it is. It just needs to be off.
I just want to make sure that people are, because you said it, and I don't know if they took the time to star what you said.
Okay. Another quick audit, or Dr. Bus, can you help me adjust staff report S1 to include the positions that you know that are vacant that will not eliminate
Yes,
people
ma'am.
and that they're not duplicates?
Yes, ma'am.
Because from the understanding, it sounds like if you have a teacher that's in a role as virtual teacher, then that person can just be a teacher anywhere. So is that an elimination, or are we just eliminating not the position? I'm sorry, not the person, just the position, correct?
Just that position.
Okay. And then in the attempt to eliminate the family engagement specialist position due to not enough students, then that'll be eliminating the position, but it's not eliminating the person. That'll be up to the next step of HR.
That's
Okay.
correct.
All right. So please help me, and then I'll make the motion with the staff report if you can help me, because it's a little confusing.
Okay.
Can somebody else say? I don't know where we are.
You were correct on all of them, with the exception of the file clerk, and I can add it to the electronic copy.
See, on this chart, it's saying that the file clerk is filled. That's why I was
Transferred.
hesitant.
Excuse me, that person in
Point
that
of order,
position was
President
transferred.
Robinson. President Robinson,
Yes,
I'm sorry.
trustee Gavin.
We have committees. We have an HR committee. We have finance committee. These documents have been out for a while. I know there's some new stuff that just landed on our desk. But I really believe that the superintendent has a responsibility to have all of this stuff in order before we come to the board table, and this is just not the adequate place to make these types of decisions. Like for a new motion, this is just out of order.
So my response to that
Move
is
forward
that
with whatever the motion is for this staff report S1, it just feels like we're creating something out of thin air.
okay, so my response to that,
disrespect to
no,
President
I don't,
Clinton, but this is.
I don't think anyone would perceive it that way. So what I've reflected and stated before, and I say it again, the issue and the difficulty that we're having with the right sizing conversation and making discussions and decisions is because this board has never had an opportunity to sit and do this. And so I know it feels uncomfortable to take the time to go through this, but I do think it's necessary. I agree with you that we should come with something that is prepared, that we are ready to move forward on. But because it has been tabled each time we come to the table, the full Board of Education has never had an opportunity to dig through and have these conversations. And so I did suggest that we do what is required as of today, and then table the rest of it so that we can maybe have a special meeting on this topic alone, because this requires some intense work and you want to make sure everyone understands and is able to give their feedback, because it may be difficult to get to a place where everyone agrees with every position there, and we want to have a consensus on what we're doing to ensure that it is something that the majority of the board supports. So I understand, and I'm not disagreeing with what you say, but it would be my preference. And what I have told you all in writing and communicated to others is that we are going to get through this meeting, getting these things accomplished to some extent. And so if you all have the patience, I know this motion has gotten a little convoluted. I was not attempting to further confuse things. I did start everything Treasurer Creighton said and read it back, because it's extremely important to me that every member of this board has notated on their own copy what they are voting on versus hearing it. And so I appreciate your patience as well as the patience of the public, but I would like for us to receive a motion, and hopefully in the time of my response, Treasurer Creighton and Dr. Butts have been able to get us a staff report that reflects the motion that Treasurer Creighton is attempting to make.
I'm good. I'm ready.
I guess
Okay,
I'm trying to figure out, is this a discussion? Like, is it?
She's making a motion.
discussion?
Okay, so for everyone, and I'm
We
not,
all have these
nope.
time limits, like, can we all discuss this? Like,
So,
I don't understand
yeah.
how this works.
So I'll give you the clarity if you allow me to speak. And I provided this clarity to Secretary Triplett. Trustee Creighton has the floor because she's attempting to make a motion. I know that it appears as if I'm allowing her to go into questions, comments, or concerns before the motion is made. However, these are questions that she needs clarified in order to appropriately make her motion. No one else at the table has attempted to present a motion or suggested a motion. So I am going to give her the floor to make her motion because this is something that we need to get done. And if you all could give us the patience, as soon as her motion is clear to everyone and we have a support, I will defer the table to everyone else to ask a question. But at this time, I am seeking the motion in a manner that is clear for everyone at the table. So I am going to return to Treasurer Creighton. You have the floor.
Okay. He said okay, at this time, I would like to make a motion to approve staff report S1 with the following positions to be eliminated.
Everyone please take your pencils and notate.
That are vacant. Grant coordinator, data coach, director of literacy, payroll and benefits specialist, one position. I know that there are two. Graduation advisor, one position, the one that is vacant. And file clerk, the one position that is vacant. 6 positions total.
All right, so a motion has been made by Treasurer Creighton to approve staff report S1 with the inclusion of grant coordinator, data coach, director of literacy, one payroll benefits specialist, graduation advisor, and file clerk. Is there a second or support? Is there a second or support to Treasurer Creighton's motion?
Support.
The motion has been made by Treasurer Creighton and supported by Secretary Triplett. Now we are at questions, comments, and concerns. I know that Secretary Triplett has a question. I'm not sure if Gavin just wanted clarification or had a question, but I'll go to Rockette Martin after Triplett, and then anyone else will go in order. Secretary Triplett, you have the floor concerning staff report S1.
Madam President, as I look here, and I do want to say to our citizens who are here, our staff members who are here, and to those who are on social media and a part of the virtual meeting, this is very, very complicated for me. And so oftentimes there are things that we cannot discuss. And so you're seeing things that you see a lot of frustration from the board as it relates to possibly getting documents not in a timely manner or getting to the table and getting this information prior to. So there are some mechanics and some things that we need to work on. So, my question has been asked forever. And what we cannot do is we cannot go back into the $18 million deficit, which Ben Harbor area schools did once before, to keep operating, because at one point they operated and continue to operate like they had 1,500 students, and they didn't. I was hoping, I don't feel comfortable with any of this. When I look on here and the question was asked, a $2 million saving. And then I come here today and I see a $1 million saving that's listed on here, and this does not match this. And so clarification on. So I don't feel comfortable. I think that we need to do some work on this. I don't think that this is when I look back in the back, I don't know, safety monitors, youth advocates, when we talk about.
Secretary Triplett, with all due respect, S1 no longer includes any of those positions. So right now we're specifically.
This is what's put in front of me.
Understood.
So if it does not include these positions, it should not be in my possession.
I understand. No, Treasurer Creighton has since amended staff report S1.
I understand, but I want this on the record.
Understood.
Madam President.
Understood.
Okay, because this is critical. And this is very concerning. We cannot tell these people that we are saving $2 million, and that is not the case. And even with this motion that she put on the floor, that is not $2 million. And so, let's just stop playing game and be real with this and do what we need to do, because we cannot go back into that. We can't do it. We cannot.
You technically have about 10 seconds left if you'd like, because I
You
interjected.
talked, interjected, and
And
when
I'm giving you the floor.
yeah, when I look here and I see two assistant principals at Ben Harbor High School, I know what this is and what this says and all these different things. What happened between this and this right now tonight? What is the deal with ESSER funds that we still have available to us that we could still use? What happened to 31A? We no longer have 31A. These positions, some of these, when you look at the general fund, that's where the deficit comes from, the general fund. And so we do have ESSER funds to still be able to do these positions if we need these positions. We do have 31A money. You're not saving us any money. You are not. If you're going to cut $2 million, let the people know that we are cutting this $2 million from our general fund and not our grant and our support finances that we have. This is not integral. It's not honest. And if it is, I want it to be proven to me, because when I look on here, the majority of these people are people that live in our community. And we have to have a discussion and be serious about it. These are jobs that people that live in Ben Harbor hold. And I'm going to stand in my resolve. So I don't feel comfortable with it, and I just support it so you can get on there and have a conversation. I don't vote no. I'm letting you know.
Trustee Raquel Martin.
Yes, Madam President. I think we've had, in our finance committee, we were shown that we would save the $2 million. However, I also understand that these people were transferred or put in other positions, that these were positions that were duplicate positions. And so with that being, in fact, nobody really is losing their job. We're just cutting the, just not having the duplicate positions, people doing this, 2 or 3 people doing the same job. So with that being said, I would like to go ahead and ask for a vote.
With all due respect, I think this conversation. I hear you, Trustee Raquel Martin. I know the public probably wants to get to the meat of the purpose, but I will professionally deny your request to call the vote. My board members deserve a right to give additional comment on
My
this.
2 minutes are not quite up.
You wanted to call for the vote, now you want more time?
Let me just say,
Okay, you have the floor.
so I think this would come support committees as a whole. Because then everybody gets the same information at the same time. And all the clarifications can be done there. But when we hear one thing in our committee, you hear something else in your committee, we may miss. So if we can, as a board, go to committees as a whole, where everybody's hearing the same thing at the same time and can get the proper clarifications, I think that would eliminate a lot of this.
Thank you. Trustee Doyle, I believe last week made that recommendation or asked for that. So there will be a staff report or a bill report. It'll be signed by myself to do so at our next, you'll see it on your work session agenda, and we'll discuss that. Trustee Gavin.
Thank you, President Robinson. See, when you have no vision, the people will perish. And that's what I see happening right here. These recommendations are gutting this district like a fish. And the superintendent is holding the blade and asking us to assist. And has given us a new document at the last minute that we did not have an opportunity to review, that does not coincide with the document that his assistant gave to us yesterday. And so this is confusion and this is foolishness. And so let me set the stage. behind our backs, or maybe behind mine, I don't know about everybody else, because there's a human resources committee. He told 50 to 60 teachers that they need to reapply for their jobs when they didn't. And then he gives us a list of support personnel to get rid of, and then has pushed other people out of their positions into positions that they did not want, and then said that those positions are vacant. This is not how you build a school district. This is how you sabotage and tear it down. And I think it is ridiculous for us to pretend that that's not what's happening here. If you don't have teachers, your kids are not going to learn. There will be chaos. They will leave. We won't have a district. That's how serious this is. That's how serious this is. And some people didn't even know that their jobs were on the chopping block. You have some who were fighting for their jobs, and others didn't even know that their jobs were gone. And then he's told everybody that they cannot talk to us.
Madam
I
President?
do not support this one bit, none of it. And we will be fools to support any of these eliminations of jobs when we have the money to move forward and grow this district the way it needs to be grown.
All right, next we have Vice President Bowens.
Treasurer Creighton, go, and I will go after her.
Okay,
No, he can go.
No, I'd rather let you go because I'm the chairman. I want to go last so I can respond.
Chairman,
Treasurer Creighton is definitely a finance thing, and I'm gonna save my, okay, actually, I'll go. So at this time, I would like to, with all of the discussion, I would like to withdraw my motion and end the discussion and withdraw my motion.
all right, so we're gonna move right along. Treasurer Creighton has withdrawn her motion for staff report S1 that we took 20 minutes to gather. At this time, I'll ask, is there anyone else that has an alternative motion to staff report S1?
Madam President,
You have the floor.
I would like to make a motion to discuss and vote on staff report S1, please.
So you would like to approve S1 as it stands with no
Yes.
corrections?
Yes.
Trustee, Vice President Bowens has made the motion to approve staff report S1 as originally presented. Is there a second or support for that?
I support.
The motion has been made by Trustee Bowens and supported by Trustee Rocket Martin. Any additional questions, comments, or concerns? Although you have an opportunity to speak, I would ask you all to be mindful of the discussion that we just had. That's the same discussion. However, I will not strip you of your rights.
Madam President,
Vice President Bowens.
the board has received an email where all of the staff were in a meeting and they discussed this. I'm correct, it was former CEO, Chief Academic Advisor. It was Miss Molly, our former, I'm sorry, let me refrain from using names. Our former Director of Finance. It was our Superintendent. And I believe it was HR, Marvin, our HR Acting Lead. And they discussed this and they developed this. We don't have to vote on it tonight now, but to act naive and play on emotions. And at the end of the day, our children are being left behind because adults want to play games. Now, the reality is the state superintendent told us that we have to do cuts. Are these the cuts that we want to do? No. Are these the cuts that are going to happen? Probably not. But let's be realistic and integral and honest. Let's have this conversation. We've had meetings at 8 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, well, 8 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock at night, in the afternoon. We've discussed this on and on. When the positions were being determined, we asked about some of these things. We've had in this document, it shows, we've had this. I've sent emails asking, what's the questions? We've discussed it. Some of us, understand, and I get it. Jobs are hard. I understand the financial situation. I also get it that ESSER 3 funds will run out. I get it that if we don't do something, we will be back in the red, saying save Benton Harbor area schools. If we're gonna do something, let's take our emotion out of it. Let's focus on the reality and the truth. Thank you.
All right, so before I go to call anyone else, I do want to clarify something that Vice President Bowen said so that it isn't misconstrued by the media or the public. The state superintendent did not tell us that we needed to cut jobs.
Thank
What
Said
the-
we needed to cut. the
I'll
budget.
clarify, correct. What the state superintendent advised us of were budget differences with this upcoming school year based on what the state governance team may or may not do. And so what we were advised to do was take a serious dive and look into our budget to make sure that we are being cognizant of changes that will come as relates to less ESSER funding and less budgeting being provided by the state government. So we were not advised by the state to cut jobs. We were advised to look at our budget, study it fiscally, and make alternative adjustments that will make sure that we're able to maintain the positive fund balance that we have. I also want to make sure that it's not construed that we are near going into the red, because we aren't.
At all,
We are not broke. We're not even close to being broke.
at all.
The only reason that the conversation of district restructuring was taking place because we want to make sure that we continue to maintain in a positive place financially. We are not struggling and we are not in danger of closure. However, we want to be forward thinking in our decisions, and staffing was one area that we were looking at that. So I don't want to send out, I know what you meant by your statement.
Thank you for
The
your
others may
clarification.
not, and I don't want anyone to be
Replacement.
alarmed.
Thank you for
Correct.
your clarification.
At this time, I'll ask, is there any other comments? Secretary Triplett.
I definitely want to be brief with this. Again, you know, I hear people say, you know, we sent this out. First of all, committees are 3 people. They cannot make decisions in committee. And we are clear on the fact that, and this is just something that we have to be honest about, because just because you are on the finance committee, that does not mean that you make all of the decisions. When we were talking in the facilities committee, in our meeting as it related to the boiler, we pulled all of the information that we could, and the chief was told that I need to get information so that when I go before the Board of Education, they will feel comfortable in supporting. That is what committees do. Okay, so that is not just because Trustee Rocket, you saw it. I don't know who saw all of this. It never came to us because you sent us an email. We said here in meetings. So we have reports from Human Resources. We have reports from the Finance Department. I mean, the Finance Committee. But what we have here, this is again, just like you sent out reports, I've asked, show me where $2 million would be saved from the general fund. This is not accurate. This is not true. This does not align with that. We do have 31A funds. We do have ESSER funds. We do have Title I monies. We are a Title I district. And so that is not saving us any money. When I look at saving money and what the state superintendent, as you stated, the state superintendent said districts all across the state are going to have to look at things a little bit differently, and especially those of us who have had ESSER funds and what have you. Okay, so don't mislead the people.
I'm sorry.
There is some work to be done, Madam President. But I think when we're talking about our staff, and I'll close out with this, we're talking about making some serious decisions. I only see, I marked on here 4, 5 things that is just totally general funds. And when you look at the ones that was general funds, even from here, $29,000. $24,000 from the general fund. You know, that's just total general fund, $96,000. And so, look, you know, I don't want to, none of this is personal. I'm not beefing with any of you all up here. Y'all want to make it personal, y'all can beef if you want to. I'm tired. I'm not doing that. But what I do want us to do with $21.3 million in the black, where though some people might not understand how Michigan schools are financed.
Secretary Triplett, please wrap up your
I'll wrap it
comment.
up. We have good money. And that money that's in that savings is for us to be able, that we've never been able to do. If anything come, we got money over here. If we have to get to a point, we have to pay staff for summer, because our money don't drop in Michigan until October, then Harbor is set. So thank you so very, very much.
Trustee Gavin.
Thank you, President Robinson. So just in response to my colleague, thoughts are the language of the mind and emotions are the language of the heart. And if we don't have a heart, I don't understand why we're here. These are people's jobs. This is what our kids deserve, is a quality education and staff to deliver that to them so that they can be properly educated in this community. And so the notion that we would eliminate these positions, or even the talking point that these are duplicate positions, they're not duplicate positions. These are service positions in which people can fill them. We can provide jobs in the community and they can give our kids wraparound service that they desperately deserve. And to trick these people into believing that you need to eliminate a grant coordinator. This is thoughts, this is brain work, this is not emotion right here. Let's just talk logic. To trick these people into believing that you need to eliminate a grant coordinator in order to save money, when the grant coordinator is the person that's responsible for making sure that we remain compliant, and the person who also seeks grants to make sure that we get millions of dollars into this district. And so it's very important to understand that everybody is not necessarily for us, and that these decisions are not in the best interest of our children. And people blame our kids and our staff and they say that they're incompetent, when actually, when things are running smoothly, we have people who come in here and sabotage what's working well in this district. And so no way would I support any of this. And we need to start questioning people who bring these types of things before us and disrupt our community in this way.
Thank you, Trustee Gavin. I'm gonna take from Treasurer Creighton and then we're gonna call for the vote. I already know the way the vote is gonna go. I probably could have saved us about 30 minutes if we had listened to the president, but we're gonna proceed. Treasurer Creighton.
Yes, I just want to be clear, because my motion was revised, so the new motion of S1 is to eliminate the grant coordinator, the data coach, the literacy coach benefits, the 3 behavior interventionist positions, the 2 assistant principal positions, which all seem to be local hires, graduation advisor, MTSS, academic interventionist, virtual teacher, family engagement, grant accountant, another local hire, athletic director, and file clerk. So that's the motion that was made by Trustee Bowen
Vice President.
and supported by Trustee Rocket.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I reclaim my time.
I'm confused. You're no longer making a
This
comment?
is my comment, and I've been interrupted, and you asked us not to do that. So I'm just pausing.
Yeah,
for you
Vice
to take
President
forward.
Barnes, can you?
Well, she was having problems saying Trustee Crocket's name, so I assisted her. It wasn't.
All right, so I'm gonna ask you all, as stated at the start of, at the return from recess, if you could please avoid speaking unless I give you the mic, because that will prevent the back and forth or any unnecessary confusion or tension. Even if you're attempting.
It's tension. Where's the tension?
Madam President, can we call for the vote?
Give Treasurer, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm gonna give Treasurer Creighton the floor. But what I'm not going to do is sit here and pretend that I don't know my board and don't know a moment where something may go left. So if you would please just allow.
I'm not gonna go left.
Yeah, I know. If you would just allow me to chair as I've been elected by the board to do. So I'm going to do my best to navigate us through this conversation. We have the floor, Treasurer Creighton.
How much time do I have? Cause I was interrupted.
They stopped it.
No, they didn't. It was in the teens when
It
it
was at
stopped.
1:15.
You have the floor, Treasurer Creighton.
I appreciate it. So again, it was mentioned when this motion was made, I just wanted it to be clear that these are two separate motions. I withdrew my motion. I am not making a motion, and so when I vote no, I want the people to know that no, I don't support terminating a person that's sitting in the audience or multiple people that are here today. I don't support it. I can't support it. And when a person say it's emotional, you're absolutely right. I'm looking at a news article that I think about every day. From June 7th of 2016. I'm sorry, I'm being interrupted again.
Nobody's talking. You can go.
You know, again, June 7th, 2016, it was a news article that went out that this same thing happened. And I was a part of that list. It's people in the audience and at this table that was a part of that list. When you talk about emotions, you're absolutely right. The same exact script, the same playbook, but different players, or are the players the same? So when we talk about it, absolutely. Do I feel comfortable eliminating positions? 44 were eliminated that night. I won't ever forget that. I have not been a district employee since. There are people at this table that were removed. There are people in the audience, people that are leading our cities that were removed. So this is real. This is real life. This is not a game of Benton Harbor Monopoly. This is real life. And so no, it might come across as me being passionate or emotional, but I am very serious. I don't play with the livelihoods of people. I don't play with unfair labor practices. I don't play with violating a person's career. So again, when teachers were eliminated, when teachers were pushed out and forced out, when principals were pushed out and forced out, when restorative justice people and coaches and people in key roles were pushed out, I didn't support it then, and I cannot support it now. As the treasurer of this board for 4 years, who has led this district, helped to lead and govern this district out of deficit of over $18 million, and 4 years later to now be and have 21, I'm sorry. It's crackling.
Treasurer Creighton, please finish your
I'm
comment. so we can
attempting
go through.
to, and the person, my colleague to my right, is crumbling paper.
I don't think that's an intent to deter you from saying what you're saying. So if you could please finish.
So again, 19 million, potentially 21 million at the end of the summer. Either way, we are in the positive. We did a training with Georgetown University with the CFO. We are aware that we have to do something to ensure that we don't end up in the same problem. However, if the CFO, if the treasurer, and several individuals from this board has stated that they do not approve the dismantling of our district, then I think it is fair to say that this needs to be voted down. I'm only one vote, but you don't have to guess how I'm going to vote. And yes, I'm very emotional about it because I think this is heart work. I joined this board because I knew I'm finishing. I was interrupted several times, so all due respect. And in closing, I just want to say that hard work is definitely hard work, and I signed up for it. And it was recommended that I read Psalms 37 today because I wasn't going to come to this meeting. But at this time, I am clear that God was showing me something that was hard for me to know, but I had to know.
Point of information, Madam President.
What's the information, Vice
Point
President
of
Bowman?
information, that was a great passionate speech. I feel like I had some personal attacks. But, you know, we were told by our treasurer that we,
Point of order, a point of information is what? Can we read that?
well, I have the floor. We were told by our treasurer that we needed to do the cuts. The board directed Dr. Butts. that-
Madam President.
You talked for 30 minutes. That's my-
So again,
I'm giving factual information. It's point of information.
so Board of Education for Benton Harbor Area Schools. We are the brand ambassadors for this district. And we are fully capable of having a conversation where we each take turns and we respect each other and let each other finish. And what I see you all doing and abusing quite often in this meeting and others is calling for points of information and in different points when people are talking because you do not want to hear what they have to say. And so I've allowed you all to get in and say your comment, but at this point, we're using it unnecessarily. So Vice President Warren, I'm not attempting to be disrespectful, but I gave you an opportunity to speak. So if you have a point of, if you need information from me.
Information is where you can give factual information.
Okay, but you've already had your
But I
opportunity
didn't
to
have that
speak.
extended time. I'm getting ready to leave because it's a hostile work environment and what we're doing. It's a hostile work environment and it's becoming.
All right.
hostile.
So Secretary Triplett, can you please notate that Vice President Bowens is exiting the meeting as of 9:15 p.m. Trustee Rocket Martin, I believe you've already had an opportunity to
Not
speak.
on the extended time.
Okay, so what I will get, you will have the floor. But I want this board to keep in mind that this is the second time we have been at this table for a motion. No one's opinion of where they stand on this has changed and the comments have not altered. You all are duplicating the comments you made the first time. And because of Robert's Rules of Order, I have to give you the floor. But I am asking you all to keep in mind that you've already had an opportunity to speak. It is now 9:16 p.m. So after Trustee Rocket Martin, we are going to call for the vote.
Thank you. Thank you. I am.
Are you exiting or not?
At the sheet. It was us, and I'm going to include myself, that told our superintendent that we needed to right-size the district more than once. In committee meetings, we were always saying you had to right-size the district. And you had duplicate positions in the district. He has done that. He has right-sized the district and he's eliminated the duplicate positions by putting those people in other positions. So with that being said, I would like to call for the vote, Madam President.
Secretary Triplett,
President Robinson,
no.
Vice President Bowen,
Abstain.
Secretary Triplett, no. Treasurer Creighton,
No.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Doyle,
No.
Trustee Gavin,
No,
it failed.
All right, now what I will say to the Board of Education, as Trustee Rocket Martin has stated, we did request right sizing. We also put it as a goal in the superintendent's contract. So we do need to still look at our budget and our staffing and see whether or not there is right sizing that works in a manner that is fully comfortable for the board. I feel as though if we would have allowed ourselves to have this conversation before, we would be at a place where our votes will be yes, but we're not there. So we're gonna proceed. And we'll continue to explore this as an option in other ways. Next, we have staff report S2, Dr. Butts. And then Secretary Triplett, I'm not sure if you noted, but Vice President Bowens is actually exiting as of 9:18 p.m.
I need to know that Vice President Bowens just bumped me on the way out. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
All right,
That is
so
ridiculous.
I am going to recess. We will return at 9:25 PM.
That is ridiculous.
Failed, I'm sorry. We are returning from recess as of 9:30 PM. We were at staff report S1, which failed. Now we are at staff report S2. Dr. Butts.
Thank you, Madam President. Submitted for board consideration to approve the creation of the following positions, titles, and job descriptions are linked below. Facts and analysis. After a thorough and fiscally responsible review of existing positions within the district, it is necessary to create new positions that reflect a consolidation of duties and create a process that promotes a long-term fiscally responsible vision for the district. Aspects of former district positions have been either consolidated or reassigned to reflect a sustainable model for the future. Policy reference 3111-4111, creating a position. Strategic plan goal reference, personnel leadership. Benton Harbor area schools will recruit, hire, develop, and retain the best staff to improve student outcomes. New position for board approval, assistant principal / athletic director. Funding source, general fund, ESSER, general fund. Effective date 7/1/24. Business office manager, general fund. Effective date 7/1/24. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area School Board of Education votes to approve the creation of the above listed positions as presented.
Okay, Dr. Butts, before I call for a motion regarding staff report S2. Staff report S1 included the elimination of an assistant principal position. With us now taking a vote to create an assistant principal / athletic director position. Are we therefore then having 3 positions on the books? I just want us,
That would technically put us at 3.
all right. Do you have any recommendations regarding that being that S1 failed? Are you wanting to proceed with the 3 and you'll come back? I mean, what would be your suggestion?
I would suggest that we remove the creation of the assistant principal athletic director position at
Okay.
this time until there's further discussion and then come back to it.
All right, thank you. So just to clarify for the board, S2 was created with the anticipation that S1 would pass. S1 included elimination of the assistant principal positions. If we were to take a vote on the assistant principal athletic director position, that would technically be adding a 3rd assistant principal. So what Dr. Buss has done is he has amended staff report S2 so that it only includes the business office manager creation. So at this time, I'm asking, is there a motion to approve staff report S2 with the inclusion of the business office manager, general fund as the funding source, effective 7/1/2024?
So moved, Madam President.
Is there a second or support?
Second.
The motion has been made by Secretary Triplett and supported by Trustee Rocket Martin. Any additional questions, comments, or concerns regarding staff report S2? Trustee Gavin.
Thank you, President Robinson. My question about this position, Dr. Butts, is I'm always concerned about how many hats a person is wearing because that has an impact on their effectiveness in doing the job. And so when I'm looking at this position, there's overseeing federal budget, other grants and accounts to ensure compliance with all legal and program requirements. And so have you combined the grant coordinator position in with this office manager position? I'm just wondering, like, is this grants, is this grant coordinator? What else do we have? Grant accountant and another position, office manager. Is that 3 positions in one? Or is this one standalone position?
The business office manager would be one standalone position. when we had the grant coordinator and the grant accountant, those two roles were split between the grant accountant and the at the time, the CFO, now would be the director of finance.
So what you're saying is this person will not be required to oversee federal budgets, grants, and accounts to ensure the compliance with all legal and program requirements?
They would still be overseeing those requirements.
Okay, so how is that different than the grant coordinator?
So with that, it will help the director of finance when those duties were absorbed, so that now this person will be the second person in the office that can help also manage the other people in the office. So in S1, we were going to eliminate the
Not you.
yeah, they got me too. You're going to eliminate the payroll benefits specialist. So there was a position that was going to be combined. You don't have to reset. I'm done.
So just for clarity, you're saying that preparing grants, overseeing grants, all of that is not actually the grant coordinator's position, duties?
So the grant coordinator is as it was after the grants were received. So they did work with Title I, but they mostly work with making sure that it was coordinated through the schools. The grant accountant is the one that was responsible for the federal portion, making sure it was applied for, put into either the consolidated app or Title I funds, RAG funds, etc. So the business manager will still be doing that, plus overseeing everyone else in the office.
Any other questions from the board regarding staff report S2?
I'm wondering, where is this information? Because where are you reading this at? I just wanna.
I think she's using she's using the computer to open the link.
Oh.
Correct, trustee Gavin, are you gathering that from the linked description?
Yeah, President Robinson, I'm looking at the business office manager, essential duties and responsibilities.
Any other current questions from the board regarding staff report S2?
Yes, I wonder, so when you, because I didn't catch that it was, I was trying to get the information that, I guess we spent a lot of time more or less talking about so many other things that I didn't realize that, like the merger or I mean, I don't have a problem creating a position, but again, when we create a position, especially since this is the general funded position, I just want to make sure that we're not being a contradiction to what we've just talked about. And then we'll be creating vacancies in other areas, or if duties will be potentially overloaded or neglected. So you said it's under which one?
Business office manager.
Which staff report is it? Staff
S2.
report.
S2.
S2.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Oh, S2.
All right, if there's no other questions from the board, Secretary Triplett, can you please call the vote for staff report S2?
I didn't get to ask
Oh.
my question because
I
I
thought you
didn't
asked it.
hand out.
Okay.
It's not in our packet. You said S2? I don't see S2 on the agenda for today.
It's there.
Oh, S2 right there. When you click on S2, it say high school principal and athletic director.
It may come up different on your phone than the computer. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at it from the computer.
So S2 should say assistant principal / athletic director and business office manager is what should be on there.
Office manager.
We took the assistant principal off,
Oh, that's what you had. Okay.
and it's just business manager we're discussing.
Gotcha. And so what was trustee Gavin saying that they can, what happened now? I'm being serious, like I was trying to follow, but I didn't want to interrupt.
President Robinson, may I?
She was asking whether or not it was going to be too many if multiple positions had, whether it was two positions or three positions, and her concern was whether it was too many hats for one person to be carrying.
Gotcha. And the answer was, it is not,
It is not.
so
It is not. I'm sorry.
it is one position.
It is,
And it's not three positions combined.
no, because the grant coordinator was working with the school. The grant accountant works with pulling down those funds, making sure that the federal part of the compliance was done.
So now with this business office manager, and I just don't want to set us up for failure to push another candidate out, right? So this business office manager won't be, I'm just, is this prepared, are we prepared to move forward with this, or is this something else that is part of the restructuring, or I just want to make sure, I just want it on the record.
No, we're prepared to move forward with this.
Okay.
Secretary Triplett, please call the vote.
President Robinson,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton,
Abstain.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Doyle,
Yes.
Trustee Gavin,
No.
motion carried.
All right, so as stated, the board, of course, requested the right size plan, and although we did not approve staff report S1 today, we'll continue to review that and try to come to a consensus of what works for the board in the district. So staff report S2 has passed with only the creation of the business office manager position. We're going to proceed to teaching and learning. Secretary Triplett, do you have an update today from the curriculum committee? If you don't, it's absolutely fine. But if you do, you're more than welcome.
Let's move
Okay.
forward with it.
So up next, we have the summer school field trip, staff report T1. Dr. Butts, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Reason for board approval. The board shall approve field trips, other district-sponsored trips which are planned to keep students out of the district overnight or longer or out of the state. Facts and analysis. The summer school staff would like to celebrate the end of the 24 summer school session by offering students a field trip to the South Bend, Indiana Cubs baseball game. The trip is scheduled for July 24, 2024. The trip will accommodate an estimated 159 students K through 8. It is estimated that there will be 50 chaperones. The field trip will be ESSER funded. Policy reference 2340, field trip and other district sponsored trips. Strategic plan reference, academics and learning environment. Benton Harbor area schools will increase student achievement as measured on local, state, and national assessment, and develop, maintain, and implement with fidelity a multi-tiered system of support that enhances the culture and learning environment. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area School Board of Education vote to approve the summer school field trip to the Cubs game in South Bend, Indiana, as presented in the total amount of $3,665.32.
Is there a motion to approve staff report T1?
I make a motion to approve staff report T1.
Is there a second or support?
Support.
The motion has been made by trustee Rocket Martin. I heard trustee Doyle the loudest. Any questions, comments, or concerns? So trustee Doyle will be noted as a support. Any questions from the board? Trustee Gavin, that's a hand.
It's a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Meaning you have a question or you just
No,
want to, okay. So Secretary Triplett, please call the vote.
President Robinson,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton, Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Doyle,
Yes.
Trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carried.
Up next, we have staff report T2, Dr. Butts.
Submitted for board consideration, the Board of Education shall approve all textbooks used as part of the educational program of this district. Facts and analysis textbook for the purpose of this policy shall mean the principal source of instructional material for any given course of study in whatever form the material may be presented that is available or distributed to every student enrolled in the course. The superintendent shall develop administrative guidelines for the selection of textbooks that includes effective consultation with the professional staff members at all appropriate levels. Policy reference 2510, adoption of textbooks, 2210, curriculum development. strategic plan reference, learning environment. Benton Harbor area schools will develop, maintain, and implement with fidelity a multi-tiered system of support that enhances the culture and learning environment. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area School Board of Education votes to approve the adoption of the textbooks recommended by the Textbook Adoption Committee. The proposed group textbook includes K through 12 recommendations for English and language arts and professional development in the amount of $1,436,727.50.
Is there a motion to approve staff report T2?
So moved.
Is there a second or support?
Second.
The motion has been made by Secretary Triplett and supported by Trustee Rocket Martin. Any questions, comments, or concerns regarding staff report T2 ELA adoption?
Madam President,
You have the floor.
I want to make this comment and then I'm gonna leave.
Okay, up to the mic so you can be heard.
I said I want to make this comment, and then I want to leave. I do feel very uncomfortable with some of the things that has happened tonight. And this, purchase, I'm always in support of purchasing and getting supplies. But without an academic officer, without a CFO or finance officer, I don't know. I don't have the information. And so, I just want that to be noted. It's a lot right now going on in my mind. I don't know how we got here, but I just wanted to be noted, not against purchasing books ever, but I mean, I don't know that this is in the budget. If it's not in the budget, what the details are. So I just wanted that to be noted.
All right, if there's no other questions from the board, Secretary Triplett, Trustee Gavin?
Just real brief, there is some documentation to support the purchase. I am in favor of supporting textbooks, on page, I don't know what page 29, it's a 44-page document. It tells in detail, the K through 5, reading mastery transformations, K through 1 materials, corrective reading, decoding, like all of that information. I am also, like Treasurer Creighton, very much concerned about not having the key staff here. And I'm grateful that this documentation is here. Otherwise, I too would be concerned about this vote, but it does. There's a 44-page document present that kind of helps with that.
If I can be excused,
Secretary Triplett, can you please note that Treasurer Creighton is exiting the meeting as of 9:48 p.m.? Trustee Rocket Martin?
And I believe they are currently using this program in the elementary and in our district am I right?
So this is we had to go back and amend this one. There was another textbook, Sava, presented previously in the work session, but it did not include the new state law that we found out during the partnership agreement and from MDE. So we had to go back and choose this one because it includes a section for dyslexia. So it's in that 44-page or 40 however many page document that Trustee Gavin referred to.
Okay. I know they used to reading SRA reading mastery now though. In the elementary.
Right.
All right, if there's no other questions, Secretary Triplett, can you please call the vote?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes.
Trustee Doyle,
yes.
Trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, next on the agenda, we have Human Resources. I am the only Human Resources member here. Most of the time, I only caught 30 minutes of the meeting, so I do not feel comfortable making the update in the absence of our chair. So we will proceed with staff separations. Staff report H1. Dr. Bus, you have the floor. And I apologize to the public if I seem jittery. Keep feeling like something's on me. I don't know if it's something under the tape, but
It is.
go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. Reason for board consideration, a list of employees whose employment relationship with the district is or will be separated is submitted to the board each month. Facts and analysis is recommended that the Board of Education votes to accept the separation of employment of the following staff. Policy reference 3140-4140, resignation of professional support staff. Strategic plan, goal reference, personnel leadership. Benton Harbor area schools will recruit, hire, develop, and retain the best staff to improve student outcomes. Christy Domray's teacher history, layoff, personnel decision, effective date 6/18/2024. Benton Harbor area high school, date of hire 6/21/22. Exit interview completed, not yet. Okay to share with the board, not yet. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor area school board of education votes to accept the separation of employment of the aforementioned staff.
All right, is there a current motion to approve staff report H1?
So moved.
Is there a second or support?
A second.
The motion has been made by Secretary Triplett and supported by Trustee Rocket Martin. Any questions, comments, or concerns regarding staff report H1?
So man, I'm sorry, Madam
You have the
Chair.
floor, Secretary Triplett.
It said the reason for the layoff, on here it said layoff was personal decision, but you said personnel.
I'm sorry, personal.
Personal, okay, thank you.
Trustee Gavin.
Thank you. My question is about the title. This history teacher position, do we have that position filled with a certified teacher? For the high school, do we have a history teacher at the high school?
We will have a certified teacher to fill that position at last conversation with the high school principal.
Okay, and how many years did this person have in experience as a grant coordinator?
Her effective hire date was 6/21/22, so
6 weeks.
just made the it wasn't 2-year mark, it was almost at the 2-year mark. Year and some months.
You know how many years of experience she had as a teacher?
I do know she was a retired teacher prior to.
Eligible for retirement age?
She was receiving retirement as far as I know of.
So I want us to be careful to not go into
Yeah.
people's
Yeah.
age and whether they're able to, things of that nature seem a bit uncomfortable and personal to be at the table.
I guess what I'm getting at is this person was our grant coordinator. And there's a resignation for teacher history. And that position's filled. And we have an opening.
Madam?
Secretary Triplett,
Yeah.
So my time is not up yet.
you paused as if you were.
I didn't
done.
pause as if I was done.
Thank you.
I was wanting some clarification because if there's a position opening that we have and this person has that experience, I guess my question is, if we accept this resignation for this position, does that allow that person to be called back for the position that they had before this position? That's what I'm trying to understand. Is that,
That
is there a
position,
connection at all in that?
I'm
Or
sorry.
if we accept this resignation, does that mean like she's off the books? We don't call her back? You know what I mean? Like how does that work?
Yeah, can I answer now?
You have the floor.
Anyone is eligible, not anyone is eligible. She will be eligible to reapply if she's so chose to do so.
She would have to reapply.
At this moment, she submitted information.
I just have one more question.
Okay, so I'm going to
I-
let me speak and I'll give you the floor.
Mhm.
I'm going to caution the board and the superintendent from saying too much that sounds like we are giving out people's personal information.
Okay,
All I can do is caution you. If you choose not to listen to me, that's up to you, but I am going to continue to caution that. Trustee Gavin.
Okay, so my questions are kind of general. I guess my question is, if a person in general speaking,
I think what she's trying to ask is what is the status of the grant coordinator? Is it grant coordinator? Or was it grant?
yes, grant coordinator.
What is the status of the grant coordinator position, being that we did not decide to eliminate it? Would you anticipate that the district is going to have that as a position posted? Is it gonna sit vacant? Because what she's attempting to ask is whether or not if an individual had interest in being in that position, is that something that would be feasible?
That position is part of the right sizing of the district. So that will be hope of the superintendent is to have that position eliminated because the duties have been folded into the business office.
And that was the question I asked. See, that's the dishonesty. I asked that question when we voted on the business office manager, and the superintendent told us that position, that the grant coordinator position was not folded into the business office manager position when this board voted for that. But I was looking at the job description and I knew that that wasn't true. So it's the dishonesty for me. It's the dishonesty for me. I'm done.
Okay, Dr. Buss, would you like to clarify because you were attempting?
Clarifying. This is.
Thank you, Madam President. That
Come on.
when you asked, when the question was asked about the business office manager and the grant accountant, the explanation was the grant coordinator's position was divided among the then CFO and the grant accountant. The grant coordinator worked directly with the schools. The grant accountant was responsible for pulling down the federal funds. The business office manager will be over everybody else in the office, still pulling down the federal funds, and the director of finance will also be working with the schools, helping the principals with their budgets.
All right, if there's no other questions from the board, Secretary Triplett, can you please call the vote?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. I'm trying to get people going. Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Doyle,
I don't even know how to vote. Abstain, I guess.
She abstained, and you gotta make sure you're close enough to the mic.
I'm not sure how to vote, so I'm just gonna abstain.
Trustee Gavin,
I don't know how to vote on a dishonest staff report either, because it says that the reason is for a personal decision or layoff. Like, what is really going on?
Trustee Gavin.
I abstain because
Okay.
this is inaccurate information.
All right, next on the agenda, we have staff report H2. Dr. Butts?
was that H1 or H2?
That was H1.
It passed.
Oh, okay.
It passed. H2.
Reason for board consideration: a list of employees whose employment relationship with the district is or will be separated is submitted to the board each month. It is recommended that the Board of Education votes to accept the separation of employment of the following staff. Policy reference 3140-4140, resignation of professional support staff. Strategic plan goal reference personnel leadership. Benton Harbor Area Schools will recruit, hire, develop, and retain the best staff to improve student outcomes. Jennifer Oaks, TNT, first grade, resignation, effective date 6/19/2024. Building, MLK Junior, date of hire 1/19/21. Exit interview sent 6/21/24. Exit interview completed, not yet. Okay to share with the board, not yet. Isabella Vaz, family engagement specialist, resignation 6/21/24. Effective date, building, Fairplain Middle School, date of hire 10/3/22. Exit interview sent 6/18/2024. Exit interview completed, not yet. Okay to share with the board, not yet. Brian Litton, principal of Fairplain Middle School. Effective date 6/21/24. Building Fairplain Middle School. Date of hire 8/10/2020. Exit interview sent 6/18/2024. Exit interview completed, yes. Okay to share the board, yes. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area School Board of Education votes to accept the separation of employment of the aforementioned staff.
Is there a motion to approve staff report H2?
So move.
Is there a
The
se-
motion.
The motion has been made by Secretary Triplett and supported by trustee Rocket Martin. Any questions, comments, or concerns from the board? I do have one and I kind of pre-messaged it to you, Dr. Butts. I would like to know whether or not, as it relates to Fairplain Middle School, with the resignation of the principal and the family engagement specialist, who are both critical pieces at the school, do you have a contingency plan in place for the beginning of the school year at this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us what that is?
Oh, I'm sorry. The position has been posted. There's also a plan to put up a person for transfer in Ms. Vaz's position. That is already in the district,
Is that being presented tonight or a future date?
future date.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Trustee Gavin?
Yes, I'm not sure about the date in regards to the TNT first grade, effective June 19th. Was this before or after you told the staff that they need to reapply for their positions? That this resignation came through?
That was after.
That was after you told them that they need to reapply for their position?
Yes, effective date is 6/19. That didn't come directly to me. Those resignations go directly to HR.
And the other question regarding the family engagement specialist, that position was on the elimination list. And I'm wondering, was this a different family engagement specialist position that you were looking to eliminate, or was it this family engagement specialist position that you were looking to eliminate through the right restructuring of the district?
Different position.
Okay, so I guess, I don't know if it's too late. I'm wondering if there's a way to separate the TNT position from the other two. There's a way to amend, or if it's too late.
There's a current motion on the floor,
Okay.
made by Secretary Triplett and supported by trustee Rocket Martin. So that would be, up to Secretary Triplett if he would like to amend the current motion. And trustee Rocket Martin, is that something you're wanting to do, or you wanting to proceed with H2 as it stands?
I want to proceed with H2 as it stands.
All right. If there's no other comments from the board, Secretary Triplett, can you please call the vote?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
trustee Doyle,
No.
trustee Gavin,
No,
motion carried.
All right, next we have staff report H3, Dr. Butts.
Submitting for board consideration to approve staff employment in accordance with the revised code and other general laws of Michigan. Facts and analysis is recommended that the Board of Education, that the board approve the superintendent's recommendation for the hire of the following personnel. Policy reference 3120-4120, employment of professional support staff. Strategic plan goal reference, personnel leadership, Benton Harbor Area Schools will recruit, hire, develop, and retain the best staff to improve student outcomes. Robin Cupch, Director of Academics, Building Central Office, funding source, general fund, effective date 7/1/2024. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area School Board of Education votes to approve the employment of the aforementioned staff.
Is there a motion to approve staff report H3?
I make a motion to approve staff report H3.
Is there a second or support?
Support.
The motion has been made by trustee Rocket Martin and supported by Secretary Triplett. Any questions, comments, concerns from the board?
I definitely have a question.
You have the floor.
Dr. Butts, we fought hard to get a director of careers and technical education so that we can get these skills and trade jobs, skills and trade classes in our district. And we hired on this person in that position. And so by you recommending to move this position, we no longer will have somebody doing that. I think you're looking at having her do both, which is wearing two hats. Director of CTE is a very big job. Director of academics is a very big job. So what happens when you have two jobs, two very big jobs, and you place those two very big jobs on one person, is you get non-compliance, you get one job that does not get done. And then those students who need that support and the staff end up not getting what they need, this is one of the biggest things that parents are saying that they want is CTE, are those classes. And so while I'm very much in favor of this person, she's doing a phenomenal job, I have a problem with her doing two jobs. I do have a question. Did we eliminate the position of assistant superintendent? Do we still have that position? I know we used to have assistant superintendent. Has that position been eliminated?
That's something that I would have to check into for you, trustee Gavin. From a historical standpoint, when I came in 2020, there were already some chiefs in place. So I am not, and I can't go back to 2020 to remember exactly whether I was there with the creation of those positions or not. So we would have to research whether or not the assistant superintendent position isn't a position that's currently on the books with Benton Harbor area schools.
Okay, so yeah, thank you. So what I would say is I'm very much in favor of this person. She's an amazing person. I have not heard anything bad about her. I am not in favor of two big jobs for one person and then leaving the CTE director position vacant, which sets that program up for failure.
All right, and Dr. Buss has a follow-up question. Has the chief academic officer role been merged with CTE, or is it still standalone?
It's still standalone. She was willing to do both until that position is posted and a person hired for it.
Okay, and so with us, if this staff report passes and she is hired as the director of academics, because she's the director, she's going to oversee CTE. And then you are going to post her position and look for someone to manage that work.
That is correct.
Can we ensure that that's something that is like as soon as, for clarification purposes, do we have to certify the minutes? We have to certify the minutes of this meeting before that takes place, correct?
That is correct.
So then we need to make sure that that is all ready to go and post it immediately after the next meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Secretary Triplett.
Okay, I have a question. I'm looking here at these job descriptions and whatever, and I know that we need qualified people and in our directorships and what have you. I'm looking here, I don't see, I've been looking and searching for a contract. Okay, so I've looked online, so the contracts, there were some things in the contract that when we talked about the days off, the 25 days off and all of those different types of things that we had some concerns previously as it related to our chiefs. And these contracts, this is very, very important. And then how long we make this decision, how is this just for 1 year? You know, just for this year?
Each contract, I sent to the board
I'm just sending to the board and what have you. The board is having, as you can see, it's all night.
Yeah, it's noted July 1st, 2024, ending June 30th, 2025. So what he has presented to us is a 1-year contract. I would anticipate that that's what's being offered.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, so I couldn't find it. I clicked on the spaces, so I mean, I don't know. So, okay, that my question has been answered. So just for 1 year.
Yes, and I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to be obtuse.
No. I just wanted to make sure that I'm clear on what I'm voting on.
All right, if there's no other questions, Secretary Triplett, can you please call the vote?
President Robinson,
Yes?
Secretary Triplett, yes. Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes,
trustee Doyle.
Yes.
Trustee Gavin,
No,
motion carried.
All right, next on the agenda, we have staff report H. Well, let's not just keep it moving. We would like to extend a warm congratulations to our new director of academics. That is a heavy lift. So I would prefer not to just move completely forward, but so congratulations. We look forward to great things. Next on the agenda, we have staff report H4, Dr. Butts.
I don't see a H4 on my sheet. I don't see a H4 on my tally sheet.
Add a column.
No. Okay. Just the H1, H2, H3, H4 has been removed.
H4 is still on the agenda, right?
We
Dr. Butts.
think of-
It's
What are we
still there.
doing?
He's trying to clarify, so his roll call sheet is missing the tab for H4, but you still planned for us to do a vote on H4, correct? He's
That's-
trying to make sure.
that's
Okay,
correct.
This is serious business. I know. I'll just take the note.
Can we
Yeah.
add a column?
Oh, no, I'll take the note.
okay.
The column should already be there.
Dr. Butts, if you could please present staff report H4.
Submitting for board consideration to approve staff employment in accordance with the revised code and other general laws of Michigan. Facts and analysis is recommended that the board approve the superintendent's recommendation for the hire of the following personnel. Policy reference 3120-4120, employment of professional support staff. Strategic plan goal reference, personnel leadership. Benton Harbor area schools will recruit, hire, develop, and retain the best staff to improve student outcomes. Marvin McDermott, Director of Human Resources, Building Central, General Fund Source, effective date 7/1/24. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor area schools Board of Education votes to approve the employment of the aforementioned staff.
Is there a motion to approve staff report H4?
I'll make a motion to approve staff report H4.
Is there a second or support? The motion has been made by trustee Rocket Martin for staff report H4. Is there a second or support? All right, so if it,
question, President Robinson,
yes,
was this, and I might be missing it because this is a lot of paper. Was the resume included?
yes, it's directly following the staff report. So the way that my book is H4 and H5. Front and back, and then the resume is directly behind it. I can pass you mine if that'd be easier for you.
Yes, please.
Okay,
Madam President,
you have the floor.
I have to leave. I have to go to work.
So I cannot prevent you from leaving, but it's going to extremely impact the way that we vote. It's 4 of us, but I can't make you stay. If it's 4, it's gonna be kind of slippery. Okay, so at this time, trustee Rocket Martin has made a motion for staff report H4. I have not heard a support, so this staff report will technically fail at this time. I'm the chair.
As a member of the board, you aren't allowed to support.
I am the chair.
Oh.
All right, so Dr. Buss will have to revisit this report. There's no second at this time. It has not been voted against, but it failed at the table. There was no support to proceed with the vote. Next on the agenda, we have staff report H5. Dr. Butts.
Submitting for board consideration to approve staff employment in accordance with the revised school code and other general laws of Michigan. Facts and analysis, it is recommended that the board approve the superintendent's recommendation for the hire of the following personnel, 3120 employment of professional support staff, strategic plan goal reference, personnel leadership. Benton Harbor area schools will recruit, hire, develop, and retain the best staff to improve student outcomes. Cleator Nichols, Director of Student Support Services, Central Office, General Fund, effective date 7/1/2024. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area School Board of Education votes to approve the employment of the aforementioned staff.
All right. And I guess I shouldn't say it failed because it didn't get denied. It just did not pass from the table, H4. Is there a motion to approve staff report H5?
I make a motion to approve staff report H5.
Is there a second or support?
Support.
The motion has been made by trustee Raquel Martin and supported by trustee Doyle. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Trustee Gavin?
Just a quick question. This position for Director of Student Support Services, what position becomes vacant if the staff person takes this position?
That's a great question.
Student support, coordinators, student supports coordinator position.
Student Support Coordinator?
Let me hold on for a second.
She was working within the student support services position. That was me.
As you're looking at, I thought this person was working with homeless students, and I thought this person was also a volunteer coordinator. So if we have all of these people who want to volunteer, they would do that. And then I'm just wondering, just in terms of compliance, do we have responsibilities to make sure that those homeless students receive certain services?
The McKinney Veto Services for homeless students. Excellent question. So right now, we actually have the resume here. So her title is Student Support Services Coordinator currently since 2020, per the resume. And she serves as the District McKinney Vento Liaison. She also serves as the Student Title 9 Coordinator. So all of that is currently there.
Thank
So her question for you is asking if moving Ms. Nichols, if this vote passes, or if it were to pass, does this create any potential liability for the district, being that there's no one in the Student Support Services Coordinator role?
No, it will not, because she will be overseeing that role, so she will a lot of those duties she was doing in coordination with the previous Director of Student Services due to lack of because we had a vacancy in another position as well that we'll be voting on tonight, so I don't want to call that out. So right now will not put us out of compliance, and we also have some upcoming training for several others in central office to be Title IX certified.
So it's 2 positions that she was holding prior to this position, like other than this position, it's 2 other positions that she was holding?
It wasn't positions that were just part of her job duties.
Okay, so she had one other job. I guess my question is, and this is this is so important to me, because if people have too many jobs, I don't care how amazing they are, they're gonna mess up, right? So are you going to combine those jobs, or are you going to post that job if she gets this job?
Post that job.
Okay.
All right, if there's no other questions from the board, Secretary Triplett, can you please call the vote for staff report H5 concerning the Director of Student Support Services? And just as a reminder, the motion was made by trustee Raquel Martin and supported by trustee Doyle.
President Robinson,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
trustee Doyle,
Yes.
trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, so additionally, we would like to wish Ms. Nichols congratulations in being hired as the Director of Student Support Services. So we also look forward to great things. And although I can't read your resume out specifically, it does show that you have extensive experience working for Benton Harbor area schools in these areas. So we are excited to see great things. So we're gonna keep it moving. Next on the agenda, we have staff report H6. Dr. Butts.
Submitted for board consideration to approve staff employment in accordance with the revised code and other general laws of Michigan. Facts and analysis. It is recommended that the board approves the superintendent's recommendation for the hire of the following personnel. Policy reference 3120-4120, employment of professional support staff. Strategic plan, goal reference, personnel leadership. Benton Harbor area schools will recruit, hire, develop, and retain the best staff to improve student outcomes. Bud Dash, Director of Facilities, Central Office, General Fund, effective date 7/1/2024. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education votes to approve the employment of the aforementioned staff.
Is there a motion to approve staff report H6?
I don't have an A6 on here either.
Is there a motion to approve staff
I
report
make a
H6?
recommendation to approve. Oh, I'm
Are
sorry.
you making a motion? You said recommendation. Are you making a motion?
No, just well, whatever you ask.
I'm asking
I
for a
would
motion.
like to, I would like to make a counter motion. Since nobody's made a motion.
Well, I think, one second.
Oh,
When
it sounded like
you-
she was making a
Yeah,
recommendation.
so I'm trying to clarify. When you said recommendation, were you attempting to make a motion for approval? Or were you attempting to suggest something otherwise?
To make a motion for the approval.
Okay, so I need you to use the right terminology so no one's confused. Thank you so much. Okay, so come forward with your motion.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to approve resolution. Is this a resolution?
It's a staff
Oh,
report.
a staff report. What was it? H6.
Six. I want to make sure you're clear on where you are and what motion you're making.
With
So what the superintendent
Director
just,
of Facilities, right?
correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so state your motion again, trustee
Okay, I
Raquel.
would like to make a motion to approve the staff report for the Director of Facilities.
President Robinson.
H6.
All right, 1 second. The motion has been made by trustee Raquel Martin. Is there a support?
Support.
Okay,
President Robinson.
you have the floor.
May I make a motion to amend this staff report for interim director of facilities? I just feel like there is a lot of unanswered questions. There's some, just some information that we need in place to make sure that we are not doing something wrong. And I just, I have, the utmost confidence in this person. He's been an amazing employee over the years. I just want to make sure that we are being cautious and, just wondering if it's possible to amend it to be an interim director of facilities while we gather some facts, just to make sure that we're doing this legally correctly. And our HR person's not here to ask some very specific questions.
Dr. Butts, so wait, before I even ask you, Secretary Triplett, are you willing to amend, wait, you made it? Are you open to making it an interim? That's my question to you. And then Dr. Butts, I'm not sure whether or not if you think that would prevent this person wanting to proceed. That's always a given, but I guess that's not the conversation we need to have. So trustee Raquel Martin?
No, I'm not willing to amend it.
Okay,
Okay, so I just have one more question then.
you have the floor.
This position of director of facilities, does it also cover like the director of, technology? Does it leave that position open? What happens with our technology department when this position is, moved in that way?
So with facilities, right now, that person is only over maintenance and custodial. So for the interim, he has expressed desire to continue to cover that department until we can post for that position, for the position.
Okay, so the technology piece that he was currently doing is what you're saying.
That's correct.
You have the floor. In the mic, please.
Yes, I don't see where all the variations and what have you come with this position that he's just gonna be over custodian. Either he's gonna be the director of facilities or he's not. Mr. Corson was the director of student services, facilities, and technology. So I don't want this watered down. If he's gonna be I'm supporting him being the director of facilities in its entirety, not with all this other stuff. The description says director of facilities. Is that what you want? Is this what you're bringing to us for him to be the director of facilities for Ben Harbor Area Schools?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then that's what it should be. Not just he's over the custodian, he's over this. He is director of facilities for Benton Harbor Area Schools. Why are you confused?
Are there any other questions from the board? Trustee Gavin?
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so just for clarity, he's going to be the director of facilities.
There's a job description as well.
Yep, I see
think.
it, and I was looking for
Okay.
technology in here. I don't see it. So he's gonna be over the director of facilities. He's gonna do both while the job is posted.
He's gonna be over that department,
Which one? So is that a,
technology.
so since Secretary Triplett said he's over technology, you're not putting over technology, but that's not in the job description?
He's just gonna hold that job until we can, it's just like with Ms. Nichols, with Ms. Cups, it's the same. We're gonna post those positions.
Okay, so you're gonna post those positions.
So what my expectation would be, because it's hard for one person to do two full jobs. I've done it many times. I don't know why I keep doing it, but I've had to work multiple responsibilities, multiple titles in one position, and it is very difficult to do. And so I would hope, and I'm very grateful that potential directors are willing to do two roles. But we also have to keep in mind that when a person wants a position, they're willing to kind of do what they need to do to be in that position. And so I would hope that we do post expeditiously for hire, but also consider looking at how the job duties of that role itself could be split between multiple people versus one person having that full responsibility. I know that we have a person that is over. We did a second hiring of a communications position.
Correct.
So that person
Correct.
may be able to get some of those duties as well. So we just want to make sure what Trustee Gavin essentially is stating is she doesn't want them overwhelmed. She wants to make sure we're able to get into the school year with a good start and not with them being boggled down with too much work.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Just one last thing.
Trustee Gavin.
I'm just wondering, was the director of technology even an option to him or to anybody if the if the chief facilities person was holding all of these jobs? Was the director of technology position even posted or even offered to him? To anybody? Or was it just a position that we had, but like, did we have it tucked away and just not offered?
When the position was created, back when Mr. Corson took director of student services, thank you, director of student services. He maintained communications and was over technology. And Mr. Dash became the technology manager, if I'm not mistaken. That's his title right now. Can you check his resume? I'm sorry.
We're gonna allow Dr. Bus to finish. He is currently the technology department manager. He
Manager,
thinks
right.
2016, he started working in tech, but currently technology department manager.
So he was promoted to technology manager position. So I'll have to go back and check the minutes to see if the communication director position was eliminated.
Technology director?
Technology director, I'm sorry, technology director. I'm a little late, I'm sorry.
Secretary Triplett, did you have another comment or did you?
I was just.
I need you to pull up to your mic so you be so comfortable.
I was just saying, our previous chief was over student services, was over facilities, and was also over the technology department. And so I don't see, where the problem comes in at, where him being able to do both of these roles. We now have a person that's over student services specifically. So he can go forth, and this right here, these are things that when you're looking at downsizing, this is our thing, because people are gonna have to take on some more responsibility as well. And so where you might pay somebody $125,000, you could take that to that position and with those roles, because the district is a lot smaller, the workload is smaller, and you could just take $10,000 from that particular position and save the district $111,000. So when you're talking, we still can have those conversations, because all of these different roles and people and all of these things, we have to combine some of these things, because that will help save the money. That was my concern with the right sizing, if you will, of the district. Those are the kind of things you talk about. Right sizing is going to require people to take on more responsibility, because we do only have 1,200 students. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Secretary Triplett, I did make a note for you, notate on you, Trustee Doyle left at 10:31 PM.
Yes, I got it right.
I would like to point out to the board that had we kept the closed session at the end, we probably wouldn't be down to 4 people right now. However, we're gonna keep it trucking and try to get through. We still have a majority of the board. So at this particular time, Secretary Triplett, if there's no other questions or conversation regarding A6, I would ask that you call the vote.
President Robinson.
Abstain.
Mhm.
And I'll notate, there's some clarifications that I need. And I don't feel as though I have enough information to proceed with the vote. So at this particular time, I'm not comfortable.
Okay, no, I'm sorry, I just
I know it threw you off.
completely.
Mhm.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Gavin,
Abstain.
All right, so it doesn't pass currently. It's a tie. And due to my lack of comfort, I do not feel comfortable breaking the tie. So we will have to revisit staff report H6. Moving right along on the agenda, and this is of no reflection of Mr. Dash, his efforts, or what we think of him at all. He's done amazing work for Benton Harbor Area Schools, so I want to make that clear. I appreciate you, Mr. Dash. Next, we have staff report H7, Dr. Butts.
Submitted for board consideration to approve employment of staff in accordance with the revised school code and other general laws of Michigan. Facts and analysis. It is recommended that the board approve the superintendent's recommendation for the hire of the following personnel. Policy reference 3120-4120, employment of professional support staff. Strategic plan, goal reference, personnel leadership. Benton Harbor Area Schools will recruit, hire, develop, and retain the best staff to improve student outcomes. Emma Freeman, teacher, band, certified, Fairplain Middle School, funding source, ESSER, Title I, effective date 8/19/24. Ventura, teachers, SPED, early childhood, early childhood special education certified, building, DEC, funding source, ESSER Title I, effective date 8/19/24. Sarah Diaz, teacher, third grade, certified, MLK, funding source, ESSER Title I, 8/19/2024. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education votes to approve the employment of the aforementioned staff.
All right, is there a motion to approve staff report H section?
So moved.
H7?
I move to support staff report H7.
A second.
Okay, the motion has been made by trustee Gavin and supported by trustee Raquel Martin. Any questions, comments, or concerns? I do have a question. Is this 8/19, this 8/19 date standard for school?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
I have a question.
I'm sorry, trustee Gavin, you made the motion. Who supported it?
Rocket Mark.
Raquel Martin. Okay, you have the floor, trustee Gavin.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. 8/19/2024, with these folks being new. When did school start again?
Gotta look at the calendar, but from my understanding, it brings them right in at training.
What? Yeah,
It brings
what
them in
day?
on the first day of training.
The first day of so school starts,
The principals come back, right?
school starts when? The 26th, so it's bringing them in 7 days before school starts.
For
Do we
training.
have any type of new teacher orientation or new teacher training that happens prior to the, general teacher teachers coming in?
Yes, ma'am, we do have some training, Thursday and Friday prior to the remainder, the staff already, I can't even think of the words. We do have some training prior to the regular staff returning,
New teachers.
for new teachers.
Yeah.
The Thursday and Friday before all of the staff comes back.
Okay, just hoping that we can get them in as soon as possible, get them acclimated and make sure that they have new teacher trainer support before everybody else comes in, that's all.
Understood. And that's where I was, and I don't mean to steal another opportunity to speak, but that just seems a little close to the beginning of the school year. And I know teachers have to set up their classrooms and their new employees and they need orientation. And so just to know, the orientation allows them the time to do all of that.
We do have it. It's a
Got it.
comprehensive plan for it.
All right. All right, if there's no other questions or comments, Secretary Triplet, can you please call the vote for staff report H7? And I know you're tired, but look at me, I'm full of energy. We getting through this today.
Yes.
This is H7.
Yes,
President Robinson,
yes,
Secretary Triplet, yes. Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
trustee Gavin.
Yes.
Oh, motion carried.
all right, congratulations and welcome to Ben Harbor Area Schools to our new staff. Certified staff.
Okay, what is me?
Let's do it. All right, next we have staff report H8. Dr. Butts.
Submitting for board consideration to approve the employment of staff in accordance with the revised code, school code, and other general laws of Michigan. Facts and analysis, it is recommended that the board approve the superintendent's recommendation for the hire of the following personnel. Policy reference 3120-4120, employment of professional support staff, strategic plan, goal reference, personnel leadership. Benton Harbor Area Schools will recruit, hire, develop, and retain the best staff to improve student outcomes. Alyssa McManus, academic interventionist, building Our Lady of the Lake. Funding source Title I, effective date 6/24/24. Recommended action at the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education votes to approve the employment of the aforementioned staff.
Is there a motion to approve staff report H8?
I make a recommendation
To make a motion.
I make a motion to approve staff report H8.
Y'all okay?
Okay, it's okay if you can also say so moved, if that's a little bit easier. Okay. All right, is there a second or support?
Support.
The motion has been made by trustee Raquel Martin and supported by Secretary Triplett. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
President Robinson,
I knew you were coming with your comment. Go ahead, you have the floor.
thank you. This is a position for a staff person to be placed not in Benton Harbor area schools. Is that correct, Dr. Butts?
That is correct. We are the stewards of that school's funds, so we are by law, we have to allocate those funds to that school.
In the future, when we have these types of positions in which we are being asked to hire for another district, private schools, can you provide that law? So that we're clear on that? Is it possible to have that attached?
Yes, ma'am, I could do a follow-up and,
Yeah,
and
I
tell
would
you how
like to
it's
have the
structured.
exact law. And the other thing is who is going to service this Title I position and ensure that we receive dollars back from the services that we provide to Our Lady of the Lake?
That comes through the business office with the Title I funds.
And how, do you know how much we would be taking in from this, like from doing this?
So if I'm not mistaken, we service two parochial schools, and I have to look at the dollar amount that we get, that we have to allocate to those schools.
Okay.
And
yeah.
if not, we're out of compliance.
Okay, yeah, so I would like to get the law on that, and I don't support hiring folks in other districts, but I get it.
All right, if there's no other questions, the motion has been made by trustee Raquel Martin and supported by Secretary Triplett. If you could please call the vote for staff report H8.
President Robinson,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes.
Trustee Gavin,
Abstain.
motion carry.
All right, next on the agenda, we have staff report H9. Dr. Butts.
Submitted for board consideration to approve the employment of staff in accordance with the revised school code and other general laws of Michigan. Facts and analysis, it is recommended that the board approve the superintendent's recommendation for the transfer of the following personnel. Policy reference 3130-4130, assignment and transfer of professional support staff. Strategic plan, goal reference, personnel leadership. Benton Harbor area schools will recruit, hire, develop, and retain the best staff to improve student outcome. Subject, I'm sorry, let me go back to the top. Subject, transfer of staff. Ms. Angela Brock Carter from grant accountant in central office to business office manager, central office, start date 7/10/2024. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education votes to approve the aforementioned employment of the aforementioned staff.
All right, and Secretary Triplett had asked a clarifying question. He was asking whether we had already done this. We have not. What we had taken a vote on is the creation of the business officer, the office manager position.
Yeah.
So now this is his recommendation of who he would like to transfer into that role. So at this time, I'll ask, is there a motion to approve staff report H9?
So moved.
Is there a second or support?
Second.
The motion has been made by Secretary Triplett and supported by trustee Gavin. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
I have a question.
You have the floor.
Okay, thank you. I've heard great things about this applicant. I guess my question is, Dr. Butts, judging from your work with this person and judging from your analysis of her resume and her experience, would you say that she has the level of experience to serve, in case there's an absence of our director of finance, would you say that she has the skill set to serve in that position if that position is not filled, or if that person who has that job is absent?
You have the floor.
Okay, I just want to make sure she was finished. So I would like to announce, and I haven't been able to announce in the past board meetings due to various reasons. Miss Angela Brock Carter just recently completed her Michigan MSBO, Michigan School Boards officials business office certification. So she does have those qualifications. Her aspiration is to become a CFO or director of finance. She's also worked in finance prior to the district. She's worked in the district. She's worked for another school district. I didn't want to say Lakeshore, but Lakeshore in the finance office as well. So she is very familiar with school finance and has a mentor that is a current CFO working with her.
Okay, thank you.
If there's no other questions from the board, Secretary Triplett, can you please call the vote? And I know everyone is tired and delirious, but guess what? I'm full of energy. And maybe had you all limited your comments before, I know I'm gonna keep saying it.
You're younger.
We gonna run forward. So Secretary Triplett,
Yes, I am not tired. I
Okay,
I'm
you
just
just- okay.
sick of the shenanigans.
okay,
That's what I'm tired of, but I mean, other than that, I'm
Okay.
good.
go ahead.
President Robinson.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Secretary Triplett, yes. Trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes.
Trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, congratulations, Ms. Brock Carter. We are excited. You have the floor.
I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda to include disciplinary action for the superintendent.
All right, so trustee Gavin is wanting to amend the agenda to add disciplinary action for the superintendent. Is there a second or support to that? All right, so that fails, trustee Gavin. Next on the agenda, I think that's all of our human resources, correct?
That's correct.
All right, so next up we have, and I think the rest of this should go pretty quickly. Next we have the facilities and student support services updates. I'm not sure, Secretary Triplett, did you have an update at this time
For,
for facilities?
no, I was just looking forward to getting to work with our new facility, director of facilities. But I will get with the superintendent. I don't have any update. I will get with the superintendent. And because we do have some pressing projects that need to be in motion, like yesterday.
All right, so Dr. Buss, if you could please proceed with staff report SSS1.
Subject BHAS America Incorporated and Great Lakes Furniture Supply. Submitted for board consideration, the Board of Education shall approve all purchases over the most recent state of Michigan Department of Education threshold of $29,572. Facts and analysis. The purchase of new cafeteria furniture supports the goal of enhancing the overall learning environment and student experience within our school district. Replacing the current furniture with modern, durable, and comfortable furniture will create a more inviting, functional space for students to dine, interact, which is essential for their well-being and social development. Benefits to our students include improved aesthetics and functionality, enhanced safety, hygiene, and support for student interactions and engagement. The source of funding for this initiative is Food Service Fund, policy reference 6320, purchasing 6325, procurement, federal grants funds, strategic plan reference, facilities operations. Benton Harbor area schools will develop, implement, and evaluate a fiscally responsible plan that will ensure physical and psychological safety. The recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education votes to approve the payment to Great Lakes Furniture Supply, BS America, in the amount of $487,007 to cover the cost of cafeteria furniture at Benton Harbor Area High School and Fairplain Middle School.
I think you may have interchanged the numbers. I think you said 487, but it's 478,007. Just want to notate that.
I'm sorry,
It's okay.
I'll restate it, $478,000 and $7.
All right, is there a motion to approve staff report SSS1?
So moved.
Is there a second or support?
Support.
The motion has been made by trustee Rocket Martin and supported by Secretary Triplett. Any additional questions, comments, or concerns? I would like to just notate that I'm excited that our students are going to be receiving new furniture. I think it's extremely nice. I like the look. And I hope that we're able to be innovative with the furniture that was in there previously, and it's not just gonna be discarded.
It will be distributed through the other schools.
Okay. All right, if there's no current questions, Secretary Triplett, can you call the vote?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, next we have our Finance Committee update. Treasurer Creighton is not present, so we'll proceed beyond that. Dr. Butts, if you could present staff report F1.
Subject.
Unless, I'm sorry, Rocket Martin, you didn't have a update or anything that you wanted to give?
You can do it.
Okay. Dr. Butts?
These monthly reports were created and discussed prior to the departure of our Director of Finance. So they were verified prior to the departure. Reason for board consideration: a set of financial reports is provided to the Board of Education each month. Facts and analysis, thank you. The facts and analysis this evening, it is recommended that the May 1 through 31st, 2024 payments be approved for all of the district funds. Policy reference 6470, payment of claims. Strategic plan goal reference, facilities operations. Benton Harbor Area Schools will develop, implement, and evaluate a fiscally responsible plan that will ensure physical and psychological safety. Recommended action that the Board of Education approves the May 1st, 2024 through May 31, 2024 payments for the following funds. General Fund, $758,484.62. Food Service Fund, 2007 Sinking Fund, 2017 Sinking Fund, 0. Student Activity Fund, $846.10 for a total of $759,330.72.
Is there a motion to approve staff report F1?
So moved.
Is there a second or support?
Support.
The motion has been made by trustee Rocket Martin and supported by Secretary Triplett. Any questions, comments, concerns? I just want to clarify this, the financials that are noted here were those prepared by our previous CFO? Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
and you are confident in the information being provided in staff report F1?
Yes, ma'am. It was discussed extensively during our Finance Committee.
All right, if there's no other questions from the board, Secretary Triplett, can you please call the vote?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, next on the agenda is old business. So we need a board retreat. I will be present. I am doing well and will be present. And so I didn't know whether or not, I've already confirmed with Deb Macon of MASB that she is available both Saturday, the 27th, and Tuesday, the 30th. I was not sure which date would be best for the board. I know we've normally done Saturdays, like an early morning into afternoon, but I wanted to pose an option for a Tuesday evening on the 30th. So I just wanted to see if you all had a preference. Do we want to keep it Saturdays the standard?
I think that we need to probably, since most of the board is gone,
Just keep it
I think
Saturdays.
we need to keep it the way that we have tentatively and go forth with
Okay, so we will do Saturday, the July 27th, tentatively The majority of us have not objected to that. I'm thinking, maybe like a 9 a.m. start, so it's not quite at 8, and I would prefer to be gone by 1. The topics will be a combination of effective board meetings, communicating during moments of difficulty, and team of 8. And so, now that I have a date confirmed, I have also charged trustee Raquel Martin and trustee Doyle to assist me with planning the retreat. Specifically with helping me with the unity building of this board. So we have a confirmed date now, and I will be touching base with you all to get your ideas, and we'll present that to the board via email. If you all have feedback of things that you would like to do, please let me know. I do not want to have any. Of course, Ms. Macon is going to put together the training pieces from what MASB does. Those are individual courses that I'm asking to be merged. But I do want us to have a heart-to-heart conversation and do some real thorough digging into our relationships and the way we interact with each other. So if you all know any types of activities that will be relevant for the board and team building that are real and genuine and not just us doing something to say we're doing something, feel free to email us your ideas. The metrics training, Dr. Buss did give the update that our new director of academics has a training scheduled for the August of 2024, correct, is what you stated?
Yeah, she has it for staff, and I was gonna ask her to put something
To look
together
into it for the board.
Yes.
And I wanted to clarify for you, trustee Gavin, I thought that your original interest was for the public to learn how to read it, or am I mistaken? Was it for us in the public or?
Yeah, this has been on this calendar for way too long. We should have a date by now. I've asked for the board to get training on it and and the board meetings are public, right?
So that would train the staff, okay. I mean, the public.
Is this something that one of us need to look into? Because I'm just trying to understand, it's almost been a year and we don't have this training on our financials. And I asked Dr. Buss for a date. I asked somebody for a date to be ready for this board meeting.
Go ahead.
So in the lack, with the lack of staff I've had over the past few months, it's been very difficult, but it is being scheduled, so it has not been overlooked. It is being scheduled.
So I have faith in our new director of academics and that she will confirm a good date for scheduling with us. I'm not sure if those individuals that are training can do them both in August. But if she could check into that and give us an email on that.
And I will. So the current training right now is on August 5th, and it is booked for admin and IF. So if you'd like to come to that training, or I can have one specifically for the board. That my goal was specifically for the board, but if you'd like to attend with the staff on August 5th, I have no objection.
Yeah, may I have the time, please?
That's Monday.
So the time of the training,
Yes, please.
I can email you that time.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll get an update just shortly.
Thank you.
And so I know that trustee Gavin has been the one that's requested it. So if there are a couple board members that are wanting to attend the training, that's perfectly fine. However, once there's a quorum of us, it actually becomes a board meeting. And we take over their training. We just have to do an official opening, and then we can have the training. So it is feasible for the board and the staff to be trained at once. We would just have to do it as a meeting with just the opening. All the training could be the same. We would have to have public comment opportunities. So that's an option if everyone would like to go that same date. However, trustee Gavin, you're more than welcome to attend the staff.
Thank you.
Secretary Triplett,
I just, I
your mic, please.
yeah, I just want to make sure that our central administration, those jobs ended in June the 30th. And so I don't just want to, I guess it's just since the role of the chief academic officer, is that been an area where someone was not working in there, but just to say that we have not, the reason that this was not done is because we haven't had staff upstairs in a long time. That's only been 2 weeks since the staff from upstairs left. And there was plenty of staff up there that could have been taken care of, but I just don't want that on the record. Like the staff upstairs has been absent all year. It's only been 2 weeks. Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is new business. I have none. I did receive. You pointing for
I
something?
wanted to mention
I need you to mention it in your mic.
our superintendent's training at the ISD and it like for the evaluation training that's required by the state of Michigan.
Thank you for that reminder. What date is that?
I think it's the Wednesday, the 17th of July. I had an email from the ISD or maybe it was from you, when it starts 5 p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m.
Mhm. I did. We've had that noted on the agenda before, but once I gave the information to everyone, I just stopped continuing it forward, but I did. So it's the training for, there's a new evaluation tool.
Right.
We're required to be trained as a board on the new tool. Mary Risa is holding a training for all of the local districts where we can go to that training on July 17th. So if you're able to attend, I've registered. Trustee Raquel Martin, a few others have registered. You can attend that particular training and be trained on the evaluation tool. If you don't attend that training, then you would have to do an alternative training. But I was trying to get us to go to that one so we could all get the same information at the same time.
Okay.
All right, under new business, the only thing I have is that Trustee Doyle, she reached out to ask about an assistant superintendent position. That's a point of interest that she has. I know Trustee Gavin asked if that's an active position on the books currently. So we'll follow up on that. Dr. Bruce, if you could check into that for me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then so I just wanted to note it because it was a request. She wanted it on the agenda. She asked today and I knew, we would have to dig out a job description, have conversations, look at contracts, price range, salary range and things of that nature. So I did let her know I would put it under new business so that she would have an opportunity to mention her interest, but in her absence, I'm still going to do it. And then we can have future discussions about that once we get the clarifying information from Dr. Butts. We've already done our closed session, so we are technically at open public comment. Are there any of the great citizens remaining that would like to make a comment this evening? Would you like for me to read you the public comments statement? Have you ever made a comment before? Okay, so I'm going to read you the statement. The Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on district matters. Today, there are 2 areas for comment on the agenda of which you may decide when to speak. Public comment on agenda items, which was earlier, and open public comment. We request that each interested participant complete a public participation form using legible writing to ensure that responses are appropriate and properly focused. Per Benton Harbor Area Schools Bylaw 0167.3, which governs board participation at board meetings, we request that you preface your comments with your name, address, and group affiliation when appropriate. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to a 3-minute duration, and per our bylaws, no participant may speak more than once on the same topic until any other persons have had the opportunity to speak on that topic. Participants may remove their mask when addressing the board. Participants shall direct all comments to the board and not to staff or other participants. The board will listen, take comments and questions under advisement and not respond at this time. I, as president, will refer questions to the superintendent for research and response. Please ensure that your public participation form includes your contact information as requested. If you have specific questions for the board or executive team that require follow-up, please email those directly to liz.goodwin@bhas.org. You have the floor.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
How y'all doing tonight? Hey,
Quite well.
that's good. I just have a public comment.
You have the floor.
My name is DeMarcus Bland, address 778 Highland Avenue, Benton Harbor, Michigan. I just want to say, as a parent with a child that attends a school of choice, I haven't been enticed to bring my child back into the district, and it's solely based on this board's conduct. and the obvious disconnect between the superintendent and the board. I am a Tiger through and through. I bleed orange and black. I graduated 2006 from this school, Benton Harbor High School. But before I'm a Tiger, I'm a father. And I have to do what's best for my child. So going forward, I'd like clarity, consistency, and last but not least, transparency. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else for open public comment?
Good
You should wait till you get to the mic so we can hear every word you say.
I apologize.
Okay, we want the public and the recording to hear you. You have the floor.
All right, thank you very much. Good evening. Okay, how's everybody doing? We're gonna make this real fast. Anyway, I'm gonna just, what I wrote down, I'm gonna speak on that. But my greatest hope for our school district is that we figure out how to attract good students and good teachers for our school district. I mean, I hope with every piece of my soul that we figure that out. And I know we can figure it out. Because another thing I wrote down earlier today too, you know, we gotta pay attention. There's 3 kinds of people in life. People who are around the way, people who are in the way, and people who make a way. Deep, huh? Have a good night.
Thank you. Anyone else for open public comment? All right, hearing none, we're at superintendent announcements and comments. Dr. Butts.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to thank the board for the votes that we took tonight to secure a new cabinet. And also I want to give a special, some special shout out to our custodial department. The floors around the buildings are looking amazing. They are doing an amazing job with the summer cleanup. And I'd like to give them their well due attention to the attention they've given the buildings. A special thanks to Ms. Delightful Payne for leading the effort. She's done an incredible job with making sure that the floors are glass shiny. And again, to all the staff that has gone the extra mile this summer. So if I don't call your name, just know that your work and effort is not unnoticed, does not go unnoticed.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Dr. Butts. For public next we have board member announcements and comments. Trustee Raquel Martin.
I'm glad we were able to put the superintendent's cabinet in place, most of it in place, because that is the vital part that we have to have in place to help run our district. And I appreciate us getting that done. I also would like to say thank you to our superintendent for the steadfastness that he has shown and for the effort that he has put forth to do the things that we've asked him to do as far as right sizing and reshaping our district. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Gavin.
Thank you. So I just want to be clear that as a human being, I like Dr. Butts. He's a nice person. He's easy to talk to as a human being. My concerns are the professional consequences of his decisions that impact our district, the staff, the students, and I'm certain that it's not just Dr. Butts alone. I don't know what type of superintendent Dr. Butts would be if the power structure wasn't the way that it is. So he's not responsible for the HR committee or the chairperson of the HR committee. And so sometimes there are decisions that he makes that he may not have wanted to make. But I want to be clear that when I look at right sizing or anything that I would approve, it would be about duplicate positions, meaning the exact same position that is not needed, right? Not eliminating people's positions who actually are viable and needed in this district. And I think it's important, we as leaders, to be responsible when there are ineffective, inefficient decisions that are made that impact our district in a detrimental way. And 60, 50, however many teachers being told that they need to reapply for their positions, if we didn't catch that, we wouldn't have been able to open our doors. And when I look over at this table, there's nobody there. And so we have to be more responsible in the way that we are delivering education, and we can do that. And sometimes we have to make tough decisions and make written reprimands or to replace people who are making decisions that is causing our district harm. And so what my hope is that it's one thing to say we're angry, we're upset, we don't like this. It's another thing to allow it to happen. And so our community expects us to make those tough decisions. This position was never made available to the community or anybody else. That was the first mistake. And so this board owns that. I did not support that. And so I'm going to stop saying we, because we is not doing all of this. These are certain decisions that I am not in support of. But what I would say is, it's not too late to turn that around. It's not too late to look at what has happened and to make the necessary corrections. We saved a lot of jobs today, and I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of this board for coming together on that issue. I'm concerned about the yes vote on that, right? But I am very proud of this board for making a decision to save jobs. And it's also important for us to take a serious look at how in the heck did that happen and what would have happened if we didn't intervene and how that made us look by allowing it to happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Secretary Triplett.
I'm waiting for the clock to come.
Thank you, because I showed.
I'm energized, yeah. First of all, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank those who are still listening, all of our citizens, our parents, our staff, our student community, leaders and organizers and what have you. For me, I've never wavered in my tiger, so I'm good with that. And I respect people have rights to do whatever it is they want to do. I will always stand for Benton Harbor. I will always stand for the alumni of Benton Harbor. It amazes me how everybody think that, it's okay. There's the St. Joe way, there's the Lakeshore way, there's the Barron Springs way, there's the Coloma way, but it's a sin to have a Benton Harbor way. But there is a Benton Harbor way, and there's a Tiger way, and sometimes people get far removed from it, and so, up here at becoming a member of the board, people, when you're sitting out there, you just don't know how this work really, really looks. You have to be mindful. You have to be careful of what you say. You have to be careful how you question. You can be sued. And it's a lot different. When I used to sit in that audience and I was wondering, why aren't they saying anything or why aren't they responding? And when I got on the Board of Education and you go to the training, you will understand. So I try my best every time I speak. That I, try to be within the guidelines and the parameters. And sometimes it's very frustrating for people who come to the meetings and what have you. Say, well, y'all not saying anything behind the scenes. You don't know what it is that we do. And so I'm like I said, I can only speak for myself. Just today, I took the opportunity for the first time to really look at a board meeting on online, on Zoom and what have you. And I was like, wow, how it looks, because, everybody in Benton Harbor, they like to come, they put the word out, yeah, it's going down. They like that. They do it at the city. It's going to be a whoop, whoop, whoop. But this board has done an amazing job for the most part. This is the first year we have new trustees and what have you. And I was sharing with someone when I first got on the Board of Education, the vote was 5-2 for a whole year. And I was a part of the 2. And so when you go through the training and what have you, it's not going to always go your way. It's not going to, but you have to stand your ground. And so I just want to say to, to this Board of Education, we have a responsibility. Everybody talking about it's for the kids. I've heard that, I've heard them, yeah, this is about kids, and we just haven't really had a whole bunch of conversation about education or about the kids. So I come here and just go through the motions and what have you with everybody. I want to always encourage our president of the Board of Education to stay encouraged. It's not an easy task, but it is doable. So with that, I'll pass. Look, let's pop that. She asked you want to, madam. You gotta get popped. It come. The madam.
I was like to say, I appreciate everyone. We were not leaving until we got through this agenda, and I was not going to allow us to table the cabinet and things of that nature. It was extremely important to me that we were able to start our school year off with individuals in place. And even though every position did not pass, it may have passed had we had a full board at the table. And so, I knew that we were going to have difficulty getting through those last few reports, being that we had limited trustees at the table, but I'm grateful for the four of us that were able to remain to ensure that we were able to conduct the business as we need to. My number one priority is to make Benton Harbor area schools the number one school of choice. And of course, that encompasses us improving in all of the areas that we have decided to improve in, and as relates to our strategic plan and things of that nature. And so I am committed to ensuring that we do that as long as I am sitting here at this table. I know that it will not be an easy task, but I do believe that it is something that we have the ability to do. However, we need to get to a place where we are able to respect each other as professional colleagues, even when we disagree and have individual issues with each other as individual people. Because there's a lot of time that's wasted in conversations and discussions because we're only responding because of who said something before us. And so I think we have to get to a place where we are a little quicker and a little concise in the points that we make, and not feel as though we need to respond to everything a person has said, because that is why the public is tuning in, because we're creating reality TV in small ways. And I think that if we would be mindful of that in our interactions with each other, we would be able to get out of here a lot quicker and a lot smoother. However, I'm thankful that we were able to get the business at hand conducted. I'm not going to further delay us exiting. So at this time, I would ask, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second or support? The motion has been made by Secretary Triplett and supported by Trustee Rocket Martin. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Secretary Triplett, can you call the vote?
President Robinson.
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Trustee Rocket Martin. Trustee Gavin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, this meeting is officially adjourned at 11:18 p.m. Dr. Buss, you may want to consider a late start for yourself and the staff that are present, but that's up to you. So we're officially adjourned at 11:18 p.m.